following program is paid for and presented by John DeMasi. The opinions expressed are not those of Town Square Media or station advertisers.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now, the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
I want to know why they never, when it's like cool in the summer, they never talk about global warming till it gets hot. You notice you haven't heard anything this week? It's been cool. I've turned my air conditioner off for 5 days, and I love it, you know. But it's the way it goes. You don't hear about it. Good morning, and welcome to another edition of Talk with a Purpose. Every Saturday we're here, 9 until noon, right here on WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Also heard on 1450 AM and online at WPGTalkRadio.com. So there are many ways to listen. And before we get into the program, I wanted to offer my condolences to the family of Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver. Whatever your politics happen to be and whether you agreed or disagreed or whatever, Sheila was the first African-American to hold that very high state office and accomplished a lot in her career and was really good to Atlantic City, especially with the takeover and so on and so forth. So the one thing I think that Phil Murphy did was pick Sheila Oliver. I mean, we do criticize him for a lot of other things, but that has never been one that we've criticized him for. So condolences again to the family of Sheila Oliver. I have a lot to talk about today. We're going to have a special guest. June Burns is coming in at 11 o'clock. She is running for Atlantic County Commissioner at Large, and we'll find out what she is bringing to the table and why she should be a commissioner. So we'll do that at 11 o'clock. And in between, of course, we've got plenty to talk about, starting off with Donald Trump. Where else do we start on this show? Donald Trump. Another week and another Trump indictment, which sort of sounds like a broken record, you know. Oh, indictment this week? What's he indicted for this week or the next week? What is it? But Trump pleads not guilty to the charges. This, of course, was for the January 6th insurrection. By the way, did you notice or did you know this? 1,077 people have been brought to justice in the January 6th insurrection, or they call it an insurrection, whatever it is. So Trump is the 1,078th person to be indicted. The big question that we are faced with in this coming election, will a trial happen? There's a couple of questions I want to ask. Will a trial happen before the election? And that's iffy at this point. Will it make the 2024 election a circus? We can be assured that's going to happen. And who will prevail in all of this? Now, I've kind of switched over here. At first, you remember I said, I don't think Trump can win. But now, with looking at the data and looking at the polls and looking at everything that has happened, I really do believe that he can win, that he will prevail in 2024. And I don't mean just the Republican nomination. That's kind of a foregone conclusion. But I think he can win the election. Now, the polls kind of have him now, him and Biden. If it were him and Biden, it's kind of a dead heat. But some polls say Trump is ahead. It depends. But it is a little too early to tell. But I have switched that to what I thought before. And remember, I said he can't win. He just can't win. It appears that Trump can actually do this. And I'll tell you why. By the way, before I get into that, Chris Christie is polling less than Hirsch Singh. You remember Hirsch Singh? That he ran for, what did he run for? Governor? Did he run for Congress? He ran for dog catcher too. I mean, So Christie is behind him. So that's just a little aside. But the liberal media is portraying Trump, another term, as divisive. And here they throw this word out, the divisive presidency of Donald Trump from 17 to 21. They made it divisive. It's what they called divisive. We didn't, and I didn't see it. If somebody did something that he didn't like, he said it. But what's divisive about that? So there's going to be a lot of noise, a lot of controversy. I think we're going to have more than we've had in any other election. And see, these are the things that the liberals throw out. They pull out this Harvard University legal scholar. His name is Lawrence Tribe. And he says that the current indictment, the crimes indicted, are an order of magnitude beyond anything that has been committed against this country by any American citizen, let alone a former president. By the way, this is the same guy who taught Barack Obama and advised him on his presidency. So we know where that's coming from. Another quote from Lawrence Tribe, he is fundamentally saying, and he's talking about Donald Trump, he is fundamentally saying that he is the law and that anything which brings a law to bear against him undermines what he, Donald Trump, perceives as America. And I don't see that. So it's just part of the noise against Trump. And look, this has been going on since before he ran for president the first time. So it's going to continue. And it's going to continue again. And so on and so on and so on. And this is the thing that I see that's a key. We have got to really make sure, and a few callers have called here and said, if Trump runs, I'm not voting for him. I'll vote for any other Republican, but I don't vote for him. Well, then you might as well give it to the other side. So, this is why I say we have really got to pull up our bootstraps and fight real hard, because this is for the future of America. Oh, I heard Joy Behar. Did you hear that the other day? Joy Behar. She says, things are really good. People are starting to afford. Inflation is down, and people are starting to afford things, and they can really buy things for their family. What world is she living in? Well, of course, with her salary, I guess she can afford anything. But this is the kind of stuff, this is the kind of garbage that you hear all over the liberal media. So we've just got to buckle down and say, look, this is it. We are going to win this election. When I say we, Republicans, Trump, and that's really what I've got to say this morning. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. We have the one and only Seth Grossman, who has fixed his clock, and he will now be on time every week. Seth, good morning, and welcome to the show.
Good morning, and of course, I'm talking to you on behalf of libertyandprosperity.com. And because of that, I could talk about almost anything this morning except Donald Trump. And the reason I can't talk about Donald Trump, first, a couple reasons. Every time we talk about Donald Trump, we're not talking about anything else. And as I pointed out last week, and one of the most popular things we put on our website is that essay by Michael Anton about how America has been in decline since 1965. And just list 27 reasons about what is causing this, about how our Constitution is dead, how the security state has been weaponized, how we have two-tiered justice, how nothing works anymore, how people are corrupt. They just want to vote to get something for themselves. And I'm not going to repeat all of them. The 27 things are posted on our Liberty and Prosperity cite, but almost every issue we talk about leads to this. And I'll just give you one example. Last week, I said I was going to what's called Blexit, Black Exit, an organization to try to convince Black Americans that this idea that we don't have a chance in America, that the whole system is rigged against us, that we don't have greatness and opportunity here, that's a dead-end street. But one of the things, and I actually visited the folks there, but one of the most interesting side things I did, I was talking to one of the leaders of this, Black leader of Black American, movement, and I handed out our Liberty and Prosperity wind turbine card, and we started talking about the environment. And he said, you know what's remarkable? He said, I just got back from a trip to an African country called Ghana. And as he's touring this country of Ghana, in the middle of they have the jungles, they have all this area there, but there's this huge garbage dump in this African country with all this garbage from America. And he's asking his host there, well, what the heck is this about? And it turns out that all the stuff that we think is recycling gets put on ships. And it's not recycled at all. It's just taken to countries in Africa like Ghana and just dumped there. So it just reinforces the idea that we're doing stuff. Here in Atlantic County, we have two sets of garbage trucks burning up fuel, one for garbage and one for recycling. And now we're finding out that the recycling stuff isn't really recycling. It's just being shipped, wasting more gas to take it up to Bayonne, New Jersey, where it's put on freighters and sent to Africa and dumped there. So these are the things that we're not talking about. But as far as the presidential election, we'll be talking a whole lot about Donald Trump at our Liberty and Prosperity meeting. And the last place we were, it was about 70% of the group is for Trump, and about 28% is for DeSantis. And that has not moved. And I'm very curious to see if the current indictments would move it. And the other thing that has happened is you said, well, we all have to stick together. What Trump has done during the past 7 months has just been trashing DeSantis, insulting him, lying about it. And I have detected among a lot of the DeSantis people, a lot of people who are so angry at Trump, I don't know if they're ever going to vote for Trump again. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to play out. And of course, I'm not going to speak on behalf of the group because most of the group agrees with you and your view of it. But there's a 28, rather a 20, I'm trying to think, it was 72%, 28%. 28% is not there, and we're a conservative group. So it's not over by any means, and a lot of discussion has to come out. But the main thing I'd like to talk about is what's going on with the wind turbines. Because, Bob of Cape May have put me on this scholarship program. Back in February, he got me invited to an event in Naples where I met Tucker Carlson. And last Thursday, Bob of Cape May invited me to this high-end fundraiser for Congressman Jeff Van Drew at the Icona Resort Hotel in Avalon. What was remarkable about it was not a typical fundraiser. It turned into basically a crusade against the wind turbines that was led by a guy called Eustace Mita of Philadelphia and Ocean City. Now, are you familiar with Eustace Mita?
No, I'm not. Not at all.
Okay, remarkable man. He owns what's called Christovest Homes. He builds luxury waterfront homes for the rich and famous. And he owns that chain of Icona hotels that we have in Avalon and Diamond Beach, Wildwood, Cape May. But also he's very active in the Catholic Church. He was the first non-clergy member to run the Papal Foundation set up by Cardinal Kroll in Philadelphia. So besides being in the top business community here, he supervises $12 million for the Papal Foundation on 100 projects on 5 continents around the world for the Catholic Church. So basically what was supposed to be a routine political fundraiser turns in this power event of everything that Eustace Mehta has done to take leadership in the fight against these ocean wind turbines. And there was a lot of new information came out that I'd like to share with you.
Go ahead.
So first of all, of course, he had Jeff Andrews spoke and talk about all the details of why wind turbines offer absolutely nothing positive, many negatives, and of course, all those facts are posted on our libertyandprosperity.com website. And if you want to persuade a friend, pick up one of our postcards that we have at our office in Summers Point. And if you want to have us mail them to you, just call our office at 609-927-7333 or email us up at info@libertyandprosperity.com. And I know some folks have been waiting a week because we've gotten so many requests, we're backed up. But anyway, what Eustace Mehta pointed out, he says, New Jersey has three big industries: tourism, pharmaceuticals, and fishing. And he pointed out how wind turbines, having 1,500 wind turbines off our beaches from Asbury Park down to Cape May, is going to clobber the tourism industry. And it's also going to make the fishing industry dangerous and less productive because there's more and more evidence about how building the concrete foundations to hold up these wind turbines. Remember, you're not just putting a stick with a pinwheel on it. These things are taller than the Empire State Building. So in order to support a tower that big, you basically have to turn the sandy ocean floor into a concrete mess. And that's going to affect the fish, the migratory patterns. It's really going to screw up that industry. So then, Eustace Mehta was talking about, and they say, well, this is going to create 1,500 union jobs. Well, think about how many thousands of other jobs it's going to destroy. Also, he pointed out a new survey made by the government that said that even if we build every single one of those 1,500 wind turbines, it's not going to affect climate change at all. The other argument, he repeated the discussion that we had on the air, when the proponents keep saying, well, these wind turbines, the 198 wind turbines, they're going to provide electricity for 400,000 homes. Well, yeah, only when the wind is blowing 25 miles an hour, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year. If not, it's not going to provide power for many of those homes, and people are starting to take notice of that. So what Eustace Mehta said, he said we've got to reach people all over New Jersey, all over America, and all over the world. And this is where it got real interesting, because Eustace Mehta is running that papal foundation. He has contacts all over Europe. And he found out that Denmark, the government of Denmark owns 51% of this Ørsted corporation that's building these wind turbines. And now Ørsted, if they don't get these government subsidized they're expecting, they could lose billions of dollars. So now you actually have voters and politicians in Denmark are starting to contact Ørsted and saying, well, maybe we ought to pull out of this project. I thought that was a very interesting point. Also, Jeff Andrews spoke, and he talked about this alliance that he formed with a Republican congressman called Bill Westerman in Arkansas, and they made some changes to federal laws so that the wind project will not move forward without another congressional hearing and approval by what's called the GAO, the Government Accounting Office. So the only thing keeping this project going is the promise of this big federal money from Biden's Inflation Reduction Act. But all these little roadblocks are being put into it, and it may not turn out that way. And already some of the wind turbine companies are bailing out. And Eustace Mehta told us about that. There's a Spanish company just canceled a wind turbine deal in Massachusetts. Ørsted had one of its deals canceled in Rhode Island, and the Swedish government had to give up a project in England because, as I pointed out last week, the English are starting to see through this, how the wind turbines are just offer nothing good and have a whole lot of stuff that's bad. But the most interesting character that I met at this meeting in Avalon Thursday night was a lawyer called Bruce Afrin. Did you ever hear of this guy?
No, I never heard of him either. No.
Well, normally I would have nothing to do with him. He is the wokest of the woke lawyers. He was a lawyer for Ralph Nader when he ran for president. He won an $18 million settlement against Princeton University because they point out that it was a fake charity, wasn't paying its share of the property taxes. He represented a class action by black Americans seeking reparations in 2006. So I would say 90% of the woke causes he went for, I disagreed with. This Bruce Afrin represented the Indian tribes that blocked the Dakota natural gas pipeline that Trump had approved, and then they knocked it out in court. And Bruce Afrin also did lawsuits that knocked out a natural gas pipeline in Connecticut. And of course, I'm all for those natural gas pipelines. So the man is an absolute one-man monkey wrench that you throw into the gears of any machine to tie a project in knots. But if you want to stop the wind turbines, Bruce Afrin is your man. And he's the lawyer who is now representing Save Long Beach Island, Defend Brigantine Beach, and Protect Our Coast in Atlantic City. And he has a lot of compelling legal arguments that he successfully used to delay and block the natural gas pipelines. So number one, he's pointing out that New Jersey had no business turning our ocean over to the federal government, that Murphy violated state law and federal law to do that. So he's challenging that. He's challenging to claw back those Orsted tax credits. Now, when you talk about tax credits, you really don't know how much money you're talking about, but you're talking about $100 million of money that was supposed to be dedicated to lowering the electric bills of every consumer in New Jersey.
That's right.
And now all that money is going to Orsted instead. So it's saving them. But now there's a food fight going on because Atlantic Shores, which is doing another wind turbine project, says they can't do their project unless they get the same deal as Orsted. So the whole thing is turning into this food fight in the courts, and it may get knocked out. But and then there's some other lawsuits that are delaying this thing. But this brings us to what I think the real significant thing that happened that affects the wind turbines more than anything else. And that's what happened yesterday. They opened up a new nuclear power plant in Augusta, Georgia. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No.
That is the first nuclear power plant that was built from scratch in America since 1979. Now, what happened in 1979? 1979 was where you had that accident at the reactor at 3 Mile Island near Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And right after you had that accident, and obviously every accident is a tragedy. And one worker at the plant died of radiation poison, and 2 or 3 others were injured, but nobody outside the plant was injured. And the accidents and deaths that you have from, coal, oil, and other energy power plants are far, far more serious than what happened there. But after you had 3 Mile Island, you also had that movie with Jane Fonda called The China Syndrome, with Michael Douglas, Jack Lemmon. I don't know if you remember that movie.
Yeah, I remember.
But that movie, scared the heck out of every American, and we have not had a single new nuclear power plant built in America since that China Syndrome Hollywood movie came out. So that's why in France, where they just kept building nuclear reactors, 80% of the energy in France comes from nuclear reactors, while only 18% of the energy in America comes from nuclear. But here's what I think was even more significant than this nuclear plant opening. The media, the mainstream media that you see on Microsoft Bing, the New York Times, normally every time there'd be news on a nuclear reactor, it would be negative. But now the news on a nuclear reactor was positive. In fact, the big thing on Microsoft Bing News, and we're going to post this on our website, was that nuclear power offers green, carbon-free, reliable energy, It's wonderful, and the only reason we're not having more of it is because we have these antiquated regulations, and we have to change the way we do our regulations. Now, why is this important for wind turbines? Until now, Murphy and the left and the Democrats, including, by the way, that Cara Fitzpatrick, who's the new candidate for state senate in Atlantic County running against Vince Palestina, her whole platform is we have no choice. If we don't build wind turbines, the planet's going to boil over. Well, not only do we know that that whole science is fake, but now there's an option that nuclear power could do everything the wind turbines do, except they actually work. You get cheap, reliable green energy without doing anything for carbon. And I guess the final point on that note is the way you open the program. You're absolutely right. Here it's been cold. I had to actually put a blanket on
Yes.
when I had the windows open. But you won't see a word of that in the media.
Yeah.
You only see news about the weather when the climate is when you have an unusually hot day in the summertime.
That's right.
And that's what separates news from propaganda. News gives you all the information you need to make an intelligent decision. But propaganda distorts your perception of reality. That's the official definition of propaganda. So that if they only tell you about the hot days and don't tell you about the cool days, you think that the planet is getting warmer, and it distorts your perception of what's going on. And because you have a distorted perception of what's going on, you're going to vote for people, or you're going to make political decisions based on wrong facts, wrong information. So that's why propaganda is so dangerous, and that's why you really have to look for it. So actually, I thought probably the most profound thing that we all talked about in the last half hour was to recognize how the press of Atlantic City will only have front page news on the weather when it's an unusually hot day, an unusually stormy day, or a flood or a fire or something, to let you think that somehow the climate is changing more than it's been changing for the last 5 billion years this planet has been here.
Yeah. That's right. You never hear, oh, gee, it's cool today. You don't hear that.
And something very similar. And anyone who watches like the online news, whether it's AOL online or Bing or Google News or any of that stuff, when it comes to race, it'll always be a black person was insulted by a white person, a black person, something was treated unfairly. You'll never see anything in any of that news about someone who's white or Asian being mistreated by someone who is black. The fact is, you have good people in the world, you have jerks in the world. Some are white, some are black, some are Asian. But when you have a constant diet of news that only tells you when one ethnic group does something right and when the other ethnic group is always the victim, it changes your perception of reality, the same as only reporting hot days and not cold days changes your perception of reality. And we have to recognize that in the news and change the way we look at what we read every day. And now I'm over time. I'm going to quit libertyandprosperity.com.
Okay.
Meeting starting in Summers Point.
Okay, Seth, thank you very much. Seth Grossman, Liberty and Prosperity, and as he said, the website, libertyandprosperity.com. Check it out. A lot of good stuff on that. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. We have John, we have Craig, and we have Bob in that order, and maybe you at 609-407-1450. We'll get started with all of the calls after these words.
When it comes to you and your family's financial wellness, there are so many things to talk about. We could go on forever. To help guide you along the way, Joe Yakovich has written a book called The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In the book, Joe talks about longevity, inflation, retirement surprises, and many other topics. For your free copy of The Heart of Your Money, call the office of Joe Yakovich at JML Financial at 856-751-1771 or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. For over 37 years, Joe Yakovich has been helping families throughout the area navigate the difficulties of a sound financial plan. You'll find Joe's approach to be different and not just the cookie-cutter methods that are prevalent in today's world. The path to your financial wellness and or retirement starts with a call to Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group. 856-751-1771. 856-751-1771. Or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. Joe Yakovich is registered with and securities and investment advisory services are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC. Member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
And let's get started with all the calls here on Talk with a Purpose. We have John in Ocean City. John, good morning. You're on Talk with a Purpose.
Yes, good morning. Yeah, usually August is your hot and muggy month, but this year it was July, so there is climate change after all. And there was a mini ice age in the 14th and 15th centuries, pre-19th century Industrial Revolution. Talk about climate change, huh? Anyway, the topic I didn't want to bring up, but I'm going to bring up anyway, was many moons. I've been sober 7.5 years, but many moons ago, I found a drinking partner in church, no less, and her son more or less tolerated us because we went to the same church. And he had actually been addicted to 3 powerful drugs: heroin, alcohol, and cigarettes. Nicotine is a drug and alcohol is a drug. But anyway, he had said that he had overdosed on heroin, and he was outside of his body, inside the ambulance, and they're trying to keep his body alive. He said he fell through a tunnel or portal into hell. He said he all 5 senses were intact, even though he's outside of his body: seeing, touching, tasting, smelling, and hearing. And he saw horrendous things. He saw people suffering in hell. The screams were unbearable. The smell, the stench was horrible. He saw also reptilian-looking kind of creatures there, too. And it terrified him, and he said he called on the name of Jesus, and he said that Jesus appeared and rescued him. And he says, how come we don't show this to people on earth? He says, it doesn't. And Jesus just smiled and said it doesn't work that way. But anyway, I was watching a vlog last night by Bill Weiss. Bill Weiss had also fallen through that portal into that same place, but he gave more detail. He says, with his 5 senses intact. And he said, there's idea of embellishment of people having these visions about hell, and they saw celebrities there, they saw Elvis there, Michael Jackson there, John Lennon there. He says, that's not what I saw. He says, these are people that were engulfed in flames. I couldn't tell if they were male or female. I saw it was a skeletal. But he did hear the screams, and he said the screams of not just agony, but there was anguish there, too. And it was also sadness, great sadness. And he said the stench was worse than anything he would smell in a sewer. And he said it was just awful. And he also called upon the name of the Lord, and the Lord rescued him. But he was a believer when this happened to him. And he says, Lord, I experienced an unbearable sadness that I'll be separated from my wife and kids forever. I experienced that unbearable anguish. But the pain, that they were going through in that place was so great. How come I didn't experience that? And the Lord said, I want you to feel some of it. That's why I protected you. But I want you to come back and tell what happened. His body was left in California somewhere where he hailed from, but his soul was not there. And they talked about Luke 16:19-31, where the rich man was begging for a drop of water from Father Abraham to send Lazarus over, and then Father Abraham said, there's a fixed gulf between us. You can't come over to us, and we can't come over to you, which is scary to me. But he ended up finishing up with 2 verses. Luke 13:3, unless ye all repent, unless a man repent, ye shall all likewise perish. That's the Lord Jesus saying that to people in his time. That's turning away from a sinful lifestyle and making a commitment to follow Jesus. And then he quoted Romans 10:9-10. If we confess with our mouths the Lord Jesus and believe in our heart that God has raised him from the dead, ye shall be saved. But he says, believing in your heart and confessing with your mouth, but also turning away from sin. And I don't care if you follow a Douay Rheims or a Catholic Douay Rheims or a Protestant KJV. John 14:6 reads the same. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. But just think about this. Just say you're out in a boat, you're out at the canyon, and it gets capsized by a huge wave. Now, if a rogue Atlantic wave doesn't drown you, then a shark's going to come and take a bite out of your backside and then come back with his friends and finish you off. Now you got a 70-mile swim back to shore if that doesn't happen to you. So you're going to drown. So say a boat shows up, and the captain of the boat throws you a lifesaver with a rope tied to it, but you're cussing about you POSUSOB, and why should he pull you onto his boat, for one? Or if you reject the lifesaver, what can be done for you? But if we're going to be allowed into God's kingdom, I mean, we have to make real changes in our life, man. And I'm just saying this, I'm 60 years old. I've done so much stuff to my poor body. I should be gone. But God's been very merciful to me. But here's the thing, though, man, whether it's some Catholic priest diddling little kids or some Protestant, avaricious Protestant pastor on your Sunday morning programs that's taking money in hand over fist, they're going to stand before God and be judged too, but we're going to be judged for sins of omission, what we didn't do. And I know I went on a preach today, but thanks for letting me call in. Bye.
All right. Thank you, John. Well, we got our Sunday morning early on Saturday, courtesy of John. Talk with a Purpose is the show, Saturdays, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Good to have you with us. 609-407-1450 is our number here in the studio, 609-407-1450. We will come back with more Talk with a Purpose in just a moment. But first, I'm going to tell you something about B.F. Mazzeo. And you're probably not going to believe this, but it is true. You can buy sirloin steak at B.F. Mazzeo. That's right. Sirloin steak, salmon. It's all right there in the freezer. It's frozen, but this is like top-notch stuff. So, and what would you expect from B.F. Mazzeo? So there's sirloin steak, there's salmon, there's all kinds of goodies in their freezer. There's raviolis, gourmet raviolis, all kinds of stuff. Check it out. See for yourself, and when you go in there, hey, keep an open mind and say, hey, I can buy this at B.F. Mazzeo, and you don't have to go anywhere else. B.F. Mazzeo is the finest fresh fruit and produce you'll find anywhere, and not only fruit and produce, but, of course, their gift baskets, fruit baskets, prepared foods, gourmet items, you name it, it's all right there. And you know what they got this week? They got Jersey tomatoes. I'll never forget this. There was a huckster used to come into my neighborhood, used to come out the back driveway, and he used to yell out Jersey tomatoes. And, of course, I was a kid. I didn't know what Jersey tomatoes were until my mother explained it to me. But they've got them this week. Jersey tomatoes, $1.99 a pound. We don't often mention specials here, but they are on sale this week. Extra large, juicy, delicious. I mean, I'll never forget. I sent a client a case of Jersey tomatoes from B.F. Mazzeo, and she said they were the best tomatoes she ever had. So, you've got quality when you got B.F. Mazzeo. B.F. Mazzeo, 601 New Road, Northfield, and online at bfmazzeo.com. And, of course, you want to be a part of the text messaging club. And what you do is you text your number to 855-910-1246, and you're part of the text messaging club. And you'll get specials every week. It's really simple. B.F. Mazzeo, more ways for you to save and more gourmet items. There's just many, many gourmet items. B.F. Mazzeo, 601 New Road, Northfield, and online at bfmazzeo.com. We are coming back. More Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
If you're interested in driving one of the finest automobiles on the market today, then you'll want to check out all of the fabulous new and pre-owned Lexus at Lexus of Atlantic City. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Driving a Lexus is like no other vehicle on the market. Test drive one for yourself at Lexus of Atlantic City. Whether it's new or pre-owned, you'll be more than satisfied. In fact, Lexus is consistently #1 when it comes to customer satisfaction. Visit Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Or you can check out their outstanding selection of new, pre-owned, and L-certified pre-owned vehicles on their website, LexusofAtlanticCity.com. That's LexusofAtlanticCity.com. Or, if you want more information, call 609-641-0008. Lexus of Atlantic City, now celebrating their 26th year in the area. A dealership that you'll enjoy. No pressure, no gimmicks, no hassle, no hype. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. And remember, always online at LexusofAtlanticCity.com.
Your WPG Talk Radio 95.5 AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. We'll have a mix of clouds and sunshine today, humid with a high 87. Partly cloudy tonight, going down to 64. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high 86. Some severe thunderstorms moving in on Monday in the afternoon. Could bring some flooding downpours, damaging winds, even an isolated tornado. Monday's high 84. I'm AccuWeather's Rose Tamburino on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose, a lot of people say I don't give my email out enough. Well, I'll try to give it out as much as possible. JDADV1 at Comcast.net. JDADV1 at Comcast.net. You can email me anything you like, pro, con, whatever. JDADV1 at Comcast.net. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Let's talk to Craig in Northfield. Craig, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Well, good morning, John. How are you?
Good. How about you?
Not bad. I'm so hot over here. I mean, geez, over there. Did you feel that cool air blow in?
I sure did.
Yeah, a lot of hot air coming from D.C., but poof, that didn't overtake the weather. And hey, Seth, I got to tell you, I'm listening to you, and you know how you said you're one of the conservatives. Though I'm a conservative, Seth. And, you know, when you talk about my boy, Donald J. Trump, you stop me from, you know what, sending you a check. And you said you weren't going to talk about Trump, but you invoked his name several times during your no-talkie. So, listen, you know, I think people are waking up. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I think so. No, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, you know where I woke up this morning. I was a little foggy, you know. Going to work, but then I filled up my car.
That really shocked you.
It woke me up. I got to tell you. So, Biden said that the economy's doing great.
Yeah,
and he said so. Maybe they're going to have to impeach me.
Yeah.
Because they can't get me on anything else, you know, because the economy's doing so good.
Oh, yeah.
But the 200,000 jobs that he said he got actually came in a little lower. It was 20,000 less. And this week also, did you see Senator Weinstein?
No, I did not, no.
Okay, well, she now is invoking her daughter to take her place.
Oh, Feinstein, you mean? Feinstein.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Excuse me, people. It's Saturday, a little early for me, but does it Smallwell? Did you see him? He had a little rally?
No, I didn't see that either.
Guys, you gotta pop it up. It's at his finest. His people are calling him a liar. They're shouting liar at Smallwell. And then they asked where Fang Fang was. Or Bang Bang Fang Fang. What's her name again? Come on.
You're losing me here. Talking in code.
Smallswell, the senator, okay, that doesn't like Donald J. Trump, who, you know, had that relationship with Fang Fang.
Oh, okay.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that. You're really informing us here.
Yeah, he went to a rally, and his own people were mentioning her name, and so those people are wondering who she is. She's that Chinese spy, okay, the FBI had to tell him not to hang out with her.
Oh, boy.
Okay, you know, Chinese spy, and we had China this week. We found two Navy guys got caught giving out secrets of our Pacific thing there, and that our training sessions here. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that either.
Oh, yeah, that happened this week, so be careful.
You're just full of knowledge this morning, Craig.
Well, and then we had the Ukraine drone that hit the Russian ships. The things are heating up.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
So people say this, that right now 52% of the country believes that we're close to a civil war. Do you believe that, John?
I don't believe that. I really don't. You know, I mean...
Civil wars against the people.
Yeah. That's some statistic that somebody throws out there, and I really don't see that. I really don't.
Can I switch another word in there instead
of
civil? Revolutionary.
Oh, jeez.
What do you think now?
No.
I think the people are fed up with our government. That would be a revolutionary war, right?
That would be, yes. That would be.
Okay.
Would
you agree with that one?
That I would agree with, but not a revolution, no.
Yeah. I think that the people are in a revolutionary war when they see what the FBI and the DOJ have been doing.
Oh, yeah.
And you notice that Donald J. Trump, he had to fly down to D.C. this week, right?
Yes.
And that was for a what? An insurrection?
Yeah.
Okay. And, but we also noticed that DNC and Republican bomber, they can't find that guy. Did you notice that? The one that left the bombs at those buildings during that insurrection?
No, I didn't see that either. Jeez.
Okay, they never found that person. However, Epps, do you remember that name? Epps?
I remember him, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, everybody said, well, what's going on with him? What's going on with him? And so here's my problem. Maybe you could help me out, John. Donald J. Trump was trying to take over the country, correct?
Well,
or an insurrection, right?
Yeah, so to speak.
Now, what did they arrest him for?
They arrested him for insurrection. That's what they...
Okay.
Yeah.
But when Epps, he's getting, his thing is called a demonstration.
Oh.
And he was telling the people to go to the Capitol, right?
Yeah.
Not peacefully, go this way,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then he was in several areas saying that. So my problem is with that is Donald J. Trump, where he's going to spend probably about $100 million in legal fees.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about money and why we don't have any people.
Okay.
We did the Russian hoax. How much was that?
Oh, God. Jeez.
40 million.
Millions.
40 mil.
Everything
40
is
mil.
millions. Everything is millions, yeah.
And now we went down to Mar-a-Lago, so that's got to be another 40, don't you think?
Yeah, at least.
At least. And then we got this new one up here in D.C., and, things in D.C. are double, so I'm going to go quick. I'm going to go like 60, 60 million. So we as a country are at 140 million, and then I know Georgia's on my mind. How about you?
Yeah, I would say another 40.
Okay, so 180 million. Okay, so, that's why we're in a revolution, because our government's willing to spend $180 million going after a guy like this.
Yeah, to say nothing of the previous while he was in office. Remember those investigations?
That's what we're talking about, Don, right?
Yeah.
And they were all illegal.
That's right.
And so I know Bob's coming on, so I'm going to be a little quick.
Wrap it up, yeah. Wrap it up.
Donald Trump has sucked the oxygen out of the room. There's no oxygen left for DeSantis at 11 points.
Yeah, okay.
You must agree with that. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Okay. Yeah. And where was he? In Alabama. And the crowd was amazing. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
Was it amazing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Bob, John and we invited you to dinner, and I got to tell you that I think you'll be joining us.
Okay.
I hope.
All right. Thanks for the call, Craig. Well, I would bring Bob on now, but we're coming up on a break, so we'll save it for after the break. Talk for the Purpose is the show. Saturdays, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Bob, Andy, Al, and maybe we'll have to swing over to the next hour to get a couple of these calls in, but we'll get them in. It's Talk with a Purpose, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Final thoughts, and hour number one after these words.
When it comes to you and your family's financial wellness, there are so many things to talk about. We could go on forever. To help guide you along the way, Joe Yakovich has written a book called The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In the book, Joe talks about longevity, inflation, retirement surprises, and many other topics. For your free copy of The Heart of Your Money, call the office of Joe Yakovich at JML Financial at 856-751-1771 or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. For over 37 years, Joe Yakovich has been helping families throughout the area navigate the difficulties of a sound financial plan. You'll find Joe's approach to be different and not just the cookie-cutter methods that are prevalent in today's world. The path to your financial wellness and or retirement starts with a call to Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group. 856-751-1771. 856-751-1771. Or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. Joe Yakovich is registered with, and securities and investment advisory services are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC. Member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
Talk with a Purpose is the show. Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. We have Bob and Cape May. Bob, good morning. Welcome.
Hey, good morning there, John. Hey, I'm sure we'd have a lot of fun at dinner, but we'll see. We'll see. Craig may wind up ultimately paying, but we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, I want him to think that he's going to win, So, just let him go,
Look, in the next hour, if I'm allowed to call back,
yes.
get into something Craig may really enjoy, and it's regarding January 6th and Steve Bannon's podcast. Craig, you really, and all the listeners, you really should listen to Steve Bannon's episode 2926. It's regarding January 6th. It's regarding an interview, apparently, that the Fox News channel would not allow to be on the air with Tucker Carlson and the ex-police chief of the Capitol Police. I'll get into that later. I really want to talk about Norstead and what they're doing to South Jersey, to the Jersey Shore. Our number one economy here, by far, we have really not much else, is tourism.
That's right.
You know, we do have the fishing industry. That's also going to be negatively influenced. But this event that Seth and I went to in Avalon, one thing was mentioned there was Norstead's own study. Their own study was determined that tourism would be negatively affected by 15%. Right?
Yes.
So how can we, as an area here, who you know, our only game really is tourism.
That's right.
How can we, you know, let them do this to our economy down here? And you know, the bonus if this happens is electricity costs go up 200 to 300%. That's the bonus. That's so we're going to take a big hit on our number one industry. We're going to pay double or triple for our electricity.
Yeah.
And I do endorse the legal maneuvering that's going to take place. You know, I think seems like there's a competent lawyer that's been hired. But we also need to attack this politically, because this really needs to be anybody that is endorsing voting for these turbines. It needs to be hung around their necks. Okay, look.
Yeah.
You vote for these turbines. You're voting to increase my electricity bills by double or triple. That is a very easy thing to sell to the voters. Okay, that you know. So politically, there's a win here. That if the Republican Party is aggressive and is clear in their communication, we should be able to have a big victory in November. I mean, this is a bread and butter pocketbook issue. You know, the only thing that will defeat this is if we're lackadaisical, and if we allow the Democrats we allow their propaganda to win the day. That's the only way that we can't have a big victory in November.
Yeah.
You know, turning the New Jersey General Assembly would be a big step in stopping the wind turbines.
Yes, that's true.
You know,
that's true.
So that's where I think we should have
we really
emphasis on this.
Can't have it. Can't have it, Bob. You're right.
No,
You're right.
No,
I mean,
it makes absolutely no sense.
No,
you know, we went over the particulars. I mean, I don't. You know, Seth and you and Congressman Van Drew, he was excellent. You know, we can go after point after point says this is a bad idea.
Yes, it is.
For our area.
Yes, it is.
You know, and Phil Murphy, you know, it's too bad. The Republican National Party, if they would have just given Jack Ciattarelli decent financing, we wouldn't have this monstrosity shoved down our throats.
That's right. That's right.
A big problem. Yep.
Bob, you can call back. Yeah, feel free to call back with the Tucker Carlson thing. Thanks for the call. Andy and Brigantine. Andy, good morning. Welcome to Talk with the Purpose.
Well, we're not going to have too much time here, John.
Well, I'll tell you what. You're going to be one of the first. I'll give you now, and then you'll come back on part 2 of Andy after the news. Okay?
All right. So I'm going to take you back to November 9th of 2022 when Donald Trump, there was talk that he was going to, he announced that he was going to have a big announcement, which we knew meant that he was announcing that he was running.
Yes.
And a reporter asked Joe Biden what his thoughts were about that. And Joe Biden said, quote, We just have to demonstrate that he will not take power if he does run, making sure under legitimate efforts of our Constitution he does not become the next president again. Now, demonstrate that he will not take power if he does run. Think about those words.
Yeah.
Now, we listened to Jack Smith talk about how Donald Trump prevented or interrupted one of the bedrock, he used the word bedrock, one of the bedrock things that we do in this country, which is elections. We have elections and we elect a president. So he's accusing Donald Trump of trying to prevent that from taking place. What do Joe Biden's words tell you? This is what Joe Biden and the Democrats are doing. How many times did Hillary Clinton say, you know, you can run a great campaign, blah, 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 and then they can steal it from you?
Yeah. Yes, she did.
We saw this woman from Georgia, Stacey Abrams, who still has not conceded that she lost. Jamie Raskin, who got up during the last election and stood up in the halls of the Capitol and was trying to essentially do the same thing that Donald Trump did, but yet when Donald Trump does it,
well, of
they're
course,
trying to put him in jail for the rest of his life.
Right. All right, hold that thought, Andy. We'll have Andy Part 2 coming up right after the break. It is Talk with a Purpose, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Hour number 1 is in the books. Hour number 2, we'll start off with Andy, Part 2, and Al in Corbin City, and maybe you at 609-407-1450. Hour number 1 in the books. Hour number 2 on the way. Don't go away.
.5 FM and 1450 AM WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station.
5.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now, the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
Hour number 2, Talk with a Purpose, every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. And as the man said, I'm John DeMasi. Who else would it be? 609-407-1450 is our number here in the studio. We got a lot to talk about this hour, but we will pick up where we left off in hour number 1. We will have Andy, Part 2. Andy, go ahead.
Okay, John. So we were talking about Jack Smith's statement the other day, and I have it here, just the part that I'm speaking about. He said the attack on our nation's capital on January 6, 2021 was an unprecedented assault on the seat of American democracy. As described in the indictment, it was fueled by lies by the defendant targeted at obstructing a bedrock function of the U.S. government, the nation's process of collecting, counting, and certifying the results of the presidential election. Okay? And now Joe Biden's words again in November of 2022, just before Donald Trump announced. If he were to run, Biden said, we just have to demonstrate that he will not take power if he does run, making sure he, under legitimate efforts of our Constitution, does not become the next president again. Okay? So Joe Biden, with that one statement, is guilty of the very thing that Jack Smith is accusing Donald Trump of doing in this indictment. And I'll take you back to 2017 when Jamie Raskin, who led the first impeachment, Jamie Raskin tried to challenge the Florida votes on the House floor. He did not want them to certify those electors. So Jamie Raskin stood on the House floor and basically did what Donald Trump did from the Oval Office, or when he gave the speech at the Capitol, where he told the people to go peacefully, and I know you're going to go march peacefully and patriotically. They leave that part of it out.
Yes.
So you know they're indicting him for doing the very same things they do. I mentioned Hillary Clinton. How many times did she say Trump was an illegitimate president?
Yes.
That he didn't win. Stacey Abrams. I could go on and on this line. Now, I want to tell you what happened to me. I was my account on Facebook was disabled. It's as if I was. It's as if I was never born. It's like Jimmy Stewart getting to see what life would be like if he had never been on Facebook. Okay.
Yeah.
So their reason. I have it here on my phone. It said your post goes against our community standards on dangerous individuals and organization. So what was my post, John? I posted a picture of Jack Smith juxtaposed with a picture of Osama bin Laden. The two men look eerily similar, with the beards, that dead look in their eyes. I didn't write anything. I merely posted their pictures next to each other. So now they shut me down because it goes against their standards of a dangerous individual. Jeez. Okay? Now let me tell you what the former Metropolitan Police officer and CNN analyst Michael Fanone said on CNN after the indictment of President Trump. He said it made, now remember, he's a CNN analyst. He's paid by CNN. He said that the indictment of President Trump made him feel the exact same way he felt when we killed Osama bin Laden.
Jeez.
And even the CNN host said that was eyebrow raising, that comment.
Yeah.
And she said to him, these two seem comparable to you. Why that comparison in particular? And this cop said, the CNN analyst said, I believe they are comparable. Osama bin Laden was a terrorist who committed a horrific act against the American people and against our republic. And I believe that Donald Trump is a terrorist who committed horrific acts against the American people as well.
Oh, boy. That is really something. That is really. Oh, now he should be fired for that.
Well, you know, when you I mean, for 6 years, we've heard them repeatedly compare Donald Trump to Hitler.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now this guy's comparing him to Osama bin Laden.
Jeez.
I never compared the two of these men. I merely put up there's no words written in my post.
No.
I merely put up their two pictures next to each other. But now that we've crossed this Rubicon, you know, Jack Smith is every bit as much a terrorist as Osama bin Laden. Now, Osama bin Laden used weapons, airplanes, okay?
Yeah.
Where Jack Smith uses the court system as his weapon in terrorism, okay? Because the goal of terrorism, the object of terrorism, number one, is to instill fear. Okay?
Yeah.
And it is the fear that they instill in order to get people to change the way they go about their daily lives. So Jack Smith, by doing this to Donald Trump, this indictment, these repeated indictments, are basically a message to the American people.
Mm-hmm.
If you follow along this path like Donald Trump, we can do this to you too. So he's trying to instill fear in the American people, much like a terrorist would do, in order to get the American people to change their way of life. In other words, keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Do not speak out publicly, because look at what we can do to you.
Do what we tell you to do. Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine what we can do to you.
Andy, thanks for the call. Good stuff. Al in Corbin City. Al, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose, and thanks for holding.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good.
It's so hot today. Oh, my gosh. I don't think I'm going to be able to stand the the kitchen today. I really don't know. I mean, come on. And, you know, the idea of attacking our one industry that supplies my living for the last 50 years.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a chef. I'm a chef because people come down to the shore.
Right.
Okay? It's, you know, that's simple. And they come there because they want to enjoy the beach and the beautiful view of the ocean. Not some damn windmill 10 miles out.
Yeah.
It's going to kill more birds. It's going to mess up the fishing. I mean, what ass came up with this idea? I mean, and then we closed down a plant that we had that was running gas at Beasley Point. We have a nuclear plant that they're talking about putting down, Salem nuclear plant. What are they, crazy? I mean, all it does is making our lives more impossible. You know, and I love this thing about it's 3% inflation, but they're not taking consideration food and fuel.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
That's the biggest lie I've ever heard in my life.
Did you see gas lately? It's creeping up. It's getting towards $4.
I already saw two places where it's $4.20.
Jeez.
Okay,
yeah,
and,
no inflation.
And I'll predict. You know, I'll put Kreskin here. By the end of the summer, it'll be up to $5 a gallon.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean,
and this is so unnecessary.
Yes.
You know,
right.
I talked to my pastor last night, and he said, you know, what we see going on in this country is just, I would never believe it. I mean, to attack Donald Trump the way they are attacking this man is something you would see in Russia or in Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
I mean, if you went against the Nazi Party, they do the same thing. You go against the Democratic Party, they'll destroy you. I mean, DeSantis, if anybody thinks that if once they get rid of Donald Trump, they're going to be easy on the other Republican, that ain't true. They always try to bury DeSantis for the being black.
Yeah,
and you learned some stuff when you were a slave, and you used it for your advantage. What's wrong with that?
Nothing. But they made it sound like he's number one racist in the world. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I have read about 6 columns that says DeSantis is a card-carrying racist. You believe that? I mean, it's ridiculous.
And the problem is too many people listen to legacy media. I mean, I'll give you an example. You didn't know about Bang Bang.
Yeah.
That's been all over.
Yeah.
All over the media.
Yeah.
But you don't hear it on 3, 6, and 10. You don't hear it on the legacy media.
Right.
They pick and choose what they want to pick and choose.
Right.
And if it makes the Democrats look bad, they don't think. If it makes the Republicans look bad, they're 100% behind it.
Right. That's right.
It's the absolute truth. Right. I mean, I'm sick of it.
I am too. Al, thanks a lot for the call. Boy, we could just talk about things we're sick of. Jeez. I just wanted to mention this. I want to congratulate the jury in Pittsburgh. Finally, a jury got it right. The case against that Robert G. Bowers, the gunman that killed 11 people in the Pittsburgh synagogue in 2018, they gave him the death penalty. Now, of course, they're going to appeal and all this stuff. Good for them. And good for justice in this country. I mean, why didn't they do that with the Parkland, Florida shooter who shot more people, killed more people? I don't understand that. But anyway, Robert Bowers is getting the death penalty. So, good. We are going to talk to John again in Ocean City. John, good morning. Welcome.
Yes, don't be such a smarty. Join the Progressive Socialist Democrat Party, whatever happened to Fang Fang? Yeah, she was a good comrade soldier. She went back home to mainland China. Good little girl, sure. This is out of Reedley, California. An investigation into a Reedley warehouse uncovered a large scale, this is in Fresno County, of a legal medical lab complete with bioengineered mice, infectious agents, nearly 30 refrigerators and freezers, full of which were non-operational incubators and more, leaving officials shocked and the public worried. It's operated by the Chinese Communist Party. Well, now what's going on here in California? And there's what are in those 800 vials anyway? Very harmful viruses, I just bet you. But we have a governor of California, and they say, well, they're controlled tent cities in Sacramento, California. There shouldn't be tent cities in the capital city. Sorry. Now they're going to have that's the golden boy. Now I don't know if the unwrapped mummy's going to go for a second time round. I don't think he's going to make it to the podium the second time round. But if he does, we have him to face off with between him and Donald Trump, or the golden boy, the perfect useful idiot, Gavin Newsom. Now here's the thing. Yeah. Now here's the thing. Robert Kennedy Jr., who's a John Kennedy Democrat, a Robert Francis Kennedy Democrat, he's not going to win as a Democrat, so he'll have to run third party. If that happens, a lot of independent voters and people that are just fed up with it all are going to go for him. He's not going to win, and President Trump won't win. But if Bobby Kennedy Jr. wins as a Democrat, I won't be unhappy about it. But I still believe, or a good kick in the pants to the shadow government, I believe, would be the original Republican Democrat ticket. It was Abraham Lincoln who took a dirty dog named Andrew Johnson as his running mate, but that's not the case with Bobby Kennedy Jr. They both had great ideas for America. I would like to see Donald Trump as a Republican frontrunner for the GOP and running for president 2024. And guess what? It's November 5th. The first elected Republican was November 5th, and this is going to be a November 5th election. It'll be a barn burner, y'all.
Yeah.
And having him as a Bobby Kennedy Jr. as his running mate as a Democrat, that would kick him in the butt. Thanks.
Thanks, John. I don't know. I think, did you hear where Trump said he's not going to go to the debate? That's August 23rd. He's not going to go. And he's going to use that to kind of pick the winner of that as his vice presidential running mate. Okay. Well, whatever. I think he should pick Tim Scott. What do you think of that? Because you get the black vote, and that would be a good ticket. I don't think DeSantis would take it. I don't think so, but we'll see. It should be interesting. Let's talk to Bob again. Bob and Cape May. Bob, good morning. Welcome back.
Hey, good morning, John. Look, what I mentioned earlier was that Steve Bannon on his War Room podcast, episode 2926, has really explosive interview that Tucker Carlson had with Stephen Sung, who was the Capitol Hill police chief during the January 6th riot. And what Stephen Sung said in this interview was that he was completely shut out in terms of the intelligence that was available regarding what was leading up to January 6th. So the CIA, FBI, military intelligence, General Milley was worried. Pelosi may have been worried, but they never, ever communicated this to the Capitol Hill police chief, who was in charge of security. So he was left with putting up bicycle barricades. Had Stephen Sung known and been filled in on the intelligence, he would have called the National Guard in, just like President Trump asked Pelosi and the mayor of Washington about bringing the National Guard in. So the D.C. or the Capitol Hill police chief said, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be talking about January 6th if I would have been completely informed the way I should have been. So this man was a convenient scapegoat. Now, big point here is that the Fox News channel never let this air. We never saw this. This was one of Tucker's hour-long, long-form interviews. It was never allowed to air. The Murdochs would not allow this interview to air. And that could be the reason why Tucker was ultimately fired.
Yeah.
Okay. So, when Pelosi lied, she lied in front of the January 6th committee when she said that she and the Capitol Hill police chief never spoke. This man claims he spoke to her 3 times. She never said anything to him about the the problems that were being anticipated by the intelligence reports.
Yeah. Bob, let me ask you this. If Fox News doesn't want this aired, why is that? Why don't they want that aired?
Well, according to Bannon, according to a lot of people kind of feel this way. Fox News, the Murdochs want to see Trump defeated. That's the key. They do not want exculpatory. They do not want exculpatory information out on, for Trump. That's the motivation. And of course the Democrats and all the anti-Trumpers, of course, don't want this to come to light.
Right.
So that's the reason why.
Well, I know.
And look, you and I are both DeSantis guys, but look, we've got to be truthful about this. Okay. The president is President Trump is being railroaded. That's no question. But I'm just wondering. Well, one of the sons, one of the Murdoch sons, Rupert's son, he is a definite liberal. There's no question about that. I know that for a fact. So I'm wondering if maybe they're switching their philosophy here. I don't know, but it's not fair. No, it's not fair. Well, you see, John, there's the Republican and Democrats. It's I think I made this analogy before. It's like the Republican and Democrat establishment. It's just like pro wrestling. They're all on the same team. They just laugh at us after the staged fight is over.
Yeah.
And you have saboteurs like Lindsey Graham who have ingratiated themselves with President Trump, and all they do is they just undermine our real conservative movement. They just do. So Paul Ryan is on the board at Fox News, and he's an absolute rhino. He's helped sabotage the first 2 years of the Trump administration. The wall should have been built.
Yeah,
they had a Republican majority. Obamacare should have been eliminated. They had a Republican majority, but Paul Ryan torpedoed that. Mitch McConnell torpedoed that, and Lindsey Graham, who a lot of people now, great nickname for him is Lady Graham, because the guy has, we think, some feminine characteristics, put it that way. But anyway.
All right, Bob, thanks a lot for the call, and be sure to check out that podcast that Bob mentioned. It's Steve Bannon's War Room. And a good interviewer there, and he sent it to me, so I'll be sure to listen to that after the show. Talk with a Purpose is the program, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG, Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. After the break, we'll talk to Kevin, we'll talk to Dave, and maybe we'll talk to you at 609-407-1450. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG, Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. We'll come back with more of Talk with a Purpose in just a moment. But now we talk about the thing that there's no controversy, and I've said this many, many times. Lexus is one of the top automobiles on the market today, and you can test drive it. And if you've ever driven one, you've ever had one, that those things just go and go, except mine wouldn't start last week, but we got it fixed, okay? That's another side. But, hey, it happens once in a while. After so many thousands of miles, something happens. But for the most part, and I have had several Lexus. I mean, I've had them since 2007, and that's all I've driven. So they just go and they go and they go, and then it's time you get a new one, and that's it. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT, and the website aclexus.com, aclexus.com. And, it is the Golden Opportunity Sales Event. It's happening until Labor Day. And really, that is a good opportunity. It is a golden opportunity for you to save some money, whether it's new or pre-owned or whatever. It's all right there for you, and now is a great time to take advantage of Lexus of Atlantic City. Again, stop in there, say hi to Helen and all of the fine staff at Lexus of Atlantic City. They'll take good care of you, and there is no, they don't do business like, the typical car dealer where they hassle you and you're there for 5 or 6 hours and you're haggling over $300. That's not the case. Give you the price, the best price, and that's it. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road, EHT, the Golden Opportunity Sales Event happening right now until Labor Day. Check it out. aclexus.com is the website. We're coming back with more Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
I'm Seth Grossman for LibertyandProsperity.com. Traffic backs up a lot on Atlantic Avenue in Margate and West Avenue in Ocean City these days. These streets now have only one lane of traffic in each direction instead of two. Woke Democrats in Washington and Trenton call this a road diet. They bribe towns to do this by paying for new streets. They want to punish people who use cars. They hate when Americans are free to drive where and when they want. They want us to live like we're in China. This is against our Constitution. But who complains when somebody else pays for something we want? That's why our federal government is now $31,000 billion in debt. Our dollar has less value each day. Learn the details and what we can do about it. Visit LibertyandProsperity.com. Help us reach more people. Join our weekly breakfast. Donate what you can to keep us on the air and online. LibertyandProsperity.com.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose. If you want to catch any of our shows and you miss it on Saturday or you miss it on the replay on Sunday from 5 until 8, well, you can do this. You can Google John DeMasi podcasts. And just like that, it's like magic. They all pop up. You think Copperfield has anything on us? Of course not. Just Google that, John DeMasi podcasts, and they're all there, like 180 some shows. You can listen to them at any time, anywhere, just as long as you have your laptop or your computer or whatever it is. You listen, and that's it. It's the on-demand of radio. That's what it really is. So, hey, we're in the 21st century. Google John DeMasi podcasts, and all the shows come up. Talk with a Purpose is the show. Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Kevin is in EHT. Kevin, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
John.
How you doing?
Morning, John. Great show.
How you doing? Thanks.
The colors for the Democrat is blue, correct?
Yes.
And Biden is the 46th president?
Yes.
So if somebody wants to make a few bucks, I got an idea. If they could make some T-shirts up, all have number 46 on the back like a jersey, but across where the name would be, it should be Trader Joe, Traitor, Joe. I think he could sell them.
Oh, yeah. Hey.
I think he could sell them like crazy, and, people, if enough people walk around with them, they'll get the idea that, we're sick of this guy. Yeah. Good grief.
Yeah.
But, I'll be dead and buried before, I have grandchildren and children, and I don't know where the hell we're heading. There's just too many people that are blockheaded in this country and don't see it.
Yeah.
But it's the media selling this fake news and stuff. People believe everything, but I don't know. It's insane.
Yeah, it really is. I think about that, too. I have grandchildren, and I think about what's the world going to be like when they're like 25, 30, 35. We won't be around to see it, but, what's it going to be like? I really feel for them. I'm scared for them. I'm glad we grew up where we grew up, but it is scary. It really is. I don't see where it's going. I really don't. I'm really baffled by it, and I agree with you.
My dad's family had, in World War II, they had 5 members, and my mom's family had 2. One is buried over in France. And for all those people that gave the ultimate sacrifice that we could be a free nation, and this is a real slap in the face to them.
Yeah.
But we just don't care anymore. It just seems like we don't care.
Yeah,
so.
That's the scary part, That is. It really is. Kevin, thanks for the call. That was a good call. Appreciate it. Dave in Galloway. Dave, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Good morning. I just want to go over two things. I agree with Seth on the global warming stuff.
Yeah.
It's a scam.
Yes.
But I don't know if he's aware that Las Vegas broke a 3-digit record this year.
No.
Most consecutive days under 3 digits. So that means we got global cooling.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't tell you that.
No. And I know because my son lives there, and he kept telling me, yeah, we broke the record. So, and the other thing was, he talked about news and propaganda, and I just can't believe he can't recognize the propaganda about Trump.
Which is?
Which we've been bombarded with for 7 years about Trump. It's all the propaganda and lies that they say it so often that people get numb to it and start to believe it. Well, he can identify other propaganda from news, but it seems like he has a problem with Trump, and, you know.
Well, what's one of the lies? Like, name one.
About Trump?
Yeah.
He never did anything in office. You know, the Abraham Accords, he got out of Paris Climate Accord, which is a scam. John Kerry's all about that. I mean, the Abraham Accords were probably one of the biggest things he accomplished. Then you got the wall. You got extended yearly funding for historically black colleges. It wasn't every year. Trump made it every 5 years. I mean, he's done a lot of things, but the press is always negative about Trump.
Yeah.
He's the most accomplished president we ever had. I was a great Ronald Reagan fan.
So was I.
So was I. Than Ronald Reagan. Yeah. And you just have to get... You know, the Democrats say if you tell a lie long enough, people will believe it.
Well,
and they just continue to lie about Trump. Yeah. And, you know, Jack Smith, he is a terrorist. You know, he's trying to instill fear in people. You know, don't agree with us, we're going to get you.
Yeah, yeah.
He should lose his license to practice law. As a matter of fact, he should probably go to prison for what he's doing.
Yeah, he's... So you're saying you're for Trump. That's what your point is.
I'm actually for Trump.
Yeah,
I'm not for DeSantis. I don't think it's his time yet. Trump has unfinished business.
Yeah, I think DeSantis is 28. That's what I think.
I don't think he has the moxie right now. I think he needs to be kicked a few more times before he realizes everything. I mean, look what Paul Ryan did to Trump. Look what other people did to Trump when he was off. His whole party stabbed him in the back. I mean, the man, considering he went against every Democrat's headwind and some of the Republican headwind, he still accomplished a lot.
Yeah, he did. That's right. Dave, thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate it. I wanted to get into something. We're going to take Craig after the break. I wanted to get into something, and this regards Biden. He has consistently, and you don't hear this a lot on mainstream media, but he has consistently misled the American public on a lot of things. But here's an example, and I want you to just pay attention to this. Hunter Biden and his plea deal. In looking into it further, here's what was discovered. Hunter Biden acknowledged in court that he started a partnership in 2017 with CEFC. Now, that is a Chinese energy company with ties to the Chinese Communist Party, and that he received, Hunter Biden, $644,000 from that company. Now follow this along. Biden's Justice Department recently brought criminal charges against a Biden corruption whistleblower. His name is Dr. Gal Luft, for not registering as a foreign agent of CEFC. The same company that was also paying Hunter and two other members of the Biden family. They all accepted vast sums of money from CEFC without registering as foreign agents. The whistleblower, Dr. Luft, was indicted. The family members were not. Biden's DOJ also blocked the IRS investigators from conducting searches and interviews in the Hunter Biden case that routinely would have been required in an investigation of anyone else. Clearly, the president has consistently misled the American people about his son's business dealings and his own knowledge of it. Oh, I didn't have anything to do. I don't know anything about Hunter's business dealings. Oh, come on. Come on, Joe. Really? We can talk about that as well. Talk with the purpose of the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Craig is on the line. We'll talk to him after the break, and maybe we'll talk to you at 609-407-1450. I'm John DeMasi. We're coming back after these words.
The market is up. The market is down. I know from day to day there's a fair amount of volatility. You worry, I worry. We all worry, but not so much when you have a sound financial plan that doesn't depend completely on the market. Hi, I'm Joe Yakovich with this Money Minute. You'll find some real insights in my new book, The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In this book, I explain in detail how I approach financial planning, retirement, insurance, and many other topics. For a free copy of my book, The Heart of Your Money, simply contact my office at 856-751-1771. That's 856-751-1771. Or you can email me at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. I'm Joe Yakovich with this Money Minute, and thanks for listening.
Want to save money in these inflationary times? Write this number down, 855-910-1246. 855-910-1246. Text your number to that number and you'll be part of BF Mazzio's Text Message Club, where you'll receive specials and coupons that will save you money. BF Mazzio, the finest fresh fruit and produce you'll find anywhere. Gift baskets, catering for all occasions, and more. 601 New Road, Northfield. Online at bfmazzio.com.
Your WPG Talk Radio 95.5 AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. Humid this afternoon, warmer with intervals of clouds and sunshine, the high up to 87. Partly cloudy tonight, low 64. Partial sunshine tomorrow, high 86 throughout the weekend. Come Monday, mostly cloudy, uncomfortably humid. Watch for severe thunderstorms in the afternoon, could bring damaging winds, flash flooding, and hail, high 84. I'm AccuWeather's Ruth O'Brien on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
We are back here on Talk with a Purpose. 609-407-1450 is the number. You heard one of our callers say about putting Trader Joe on the back of a T-shirt and a number. So we got the guy who's probably going to make them, Craig in Northfield. Craig, good morning. Welcome back.
Yeah. You know, how many bags of money has that man taken on Air Force One? I can only imagine.
Yeah.
But Bob down at Cape May, I would just like to say thank you so much for agreeing with me. You know, it's been a long time coming, and it's been a long road. And I know that, you know, look, here's the thing that people need to understand. Even if DeSantis or that the woman that was working for the UN there that's running from the Carolinas, that she was a governor for a while. If they were actually the nominee, John, let me ask you this question, and then the full might of this rapid Democratic Party, and I do mean rapid, came after them, would either one of them have enough money?
No.
Thank you. Do you understand?
Yes. Yeah.
It would be over.
Yeah.
It would be the tsunami, okay? And there would be nothing left.
Yeah.
You have to agree with that. And so that's why I said, you know, do you think that the DeSantis, he can't take on Disney? Do you think that he could take on the FBI, the CIA, the Justice Department?
Nope.
All at one time?
Nope.
Nope. So let's talk about what happened. We talk about injustice. This is the biggest injustice. But you remember Roger Stone? What did they do to him?
Yeah, they buried him.
They buried him. And Steve Bannon?
Yeah, him too.
And then General Kelly, right? General Flynn Kelly, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What happened to him, Kelly? What happened? They were. It wasn't enough that they got him out of office. They wanted his house. Didn't they take his house?
Yeah, yeah.
They took his house, and then they said to him, the house is nothing. We're going to make it so that we ruin your son's life, too. Didn't they say that?
Yeah.
Didn't they come after that?
Yeah.
Okay. Did they come after Donald Trump's children?
No.
Yeah, they did.
Well,
hold on. Let me ask you a question. Donald J. Trump Jr., he wasn't indicted and looked and investigated. How about Eric?
Yeah.
If they slipped one tiny little word when they were being investigated, where would they be?
Well, they didn't come after Barron, did they?
No. Well, there you go. You know why?
Because he was a kid at the time.
He's a minor.
Yeah.
There you go. So, and how would have that looked?
Not too good on their part.
Not too good. So, you know what? They went after every single one of them. So now we're supposed to feel sorry for Hunter, who actually took showers with his niece. Right?
Can't make that stuff up.
No, you really can't make that up. So, and then you had him on that White House. Let's go back to that. We had him on that White House balcony. Oops. Nothing there. Don't look there. No. Right? It's amazing.
We don't know how that cocaine got in the White House. How did it get there? We have all the cameras, and they can't tell you how it got there. I mean, that's ridiculous. We know how it got there. I think everybody in the country knew how it got there.
So now we just got to look, and you know what they're saying. Did you see Pencil Next Shift?
Yeah.
That what he said this week, and he's beating the drum, and this is so good for us. He wants this court case, to be on TV. Did you know that? Now, federal cases are never on TV. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. But
no, yep, nope. But there might be an exception for Donald J. Trump. Now, I don't know if we're going to do so good like that, but do you see Donald Trump winning this case if it's in Washington?
No.
Okay. And what would you think afterwards? It's a railroad job, or would you think he was treated fairly?
Yes, I would think it's a railroad job.
Okay. Yeah. So there's no benefit for half the country for this to be in Washington, D.C.
That's right.
Okay? Let's try to be fair. Even you Democrats, you know what? We got to be fair. The number one thing, the Lady Justice, we can't tilt the scales. Now I'll leave you with that, John.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for calling back, Greg. 609-407-1450 is the number here in the studio. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. June Burns is running for Atlantic County Commissioner at large. She will be our guest at 11 o'clock this morning, so stick around for that. In the meantime, we have Linda in Absecon. Linda, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
What did I miss this morning? I am so disappointed. I've missed your show, most of it.
Wow!
I just caught a call. I know,
Oh,
and I didn't do it. I had to miss it for terrible reasons, but I had.
We'll let you slide this time, Linda. You can catch it tomorrow on the replay.
I don't like that. So, So, how about Barron being? Who was it? Peter Fonda said he wanted Barron, little Barron, when he got to Washington, wanted him in a cage with pedophiles, little kid.
What for? I mean, what is that?
So they could defile the little boy. I mean, it all comes down to vulgarity and those issues when you start hanging out with the liberal other side.
Well, the Fondas have not exactly been upstanding people, as you remember Jane Fonda with her going to the North Vietnam many years ago. I still remember that.
I do.
Boy, oh boy. So I wouldn't be surprised, anything the Fondas have said.
And President Trump, I mean, what he did for our country was, I love, excuse me, Reagan. And however, for me to put Biden, not Biden, what am I saying? Trump ahead of Reagan is a biggie, but I do. This man has been amazing under such circumstances. I mean, we no longer. How was life when we had low inflation, low interest rates?
It's great.
Low gas prices, low unemployment.
Yeah.
Little crisis at the border, he was getting that taken care of. A prepared military, not concerned with being woke. Energy independence. And by the way, whatever happened to ISIS? Do you remember? ISIS was a really big, major prior to President Trump coming into office. Then he was in office for 2 weeks and it was gone.
Yeah.
No press headlines, though, right?
No press
headlines. Energy independence. How about that?
Yeah.
When did you ever think that America was going to be energy independent?
That's one of the biggest things that he's done, and it doesn't get enough publicity. Because
where are the headlines?
You remember in the 70s and 80s when we had those gas prices?
I do.
I mean, that was, and we were saying, we're going to $5 a gallon for gas. We're never going to be energy independent. And here you go. He did it.
He made it happen. It just arrived. I mean, he made it.
Yeah.
He made it happen. Where were the headlines?
Yeah.
Where was the thank you, President Trump?
That's right. And how about now? Here we have Biden begging Saudi Arabia for oil.
Dirty oil.
It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
We're getting dirty oil from Venezuela and those places, and we have to refine it. That's if we still have. And do we have any refining things around anymore? I don't think. They're probably cut back. And of course, I mean downgrades. We have a downgrade. The United States has a downgrade under President Biden. And when we had the last one? We had it under President Obama. So I need these people on the Democrat side to thrill me with their acumen and give me a list like I just gave on President Trump.
Wait a minute, Linda. Joy Behar said that everything is fine. Inflation is down, and people just don't like Biden because he's old. But everything else is fine. Do you believe that? How much?
Go buy a house.
Yeah, that's right. Go buy a house and
start there.
Yeah,
and then think about buying a car that when you buy it, you're not going. They're going to not. You won't be able to sell it because it'll be worthless because they're getting rid of the kind of cars that we want to drive.
Yeah, that's right.
We are living in an age of insanity, and I don't know if President Trump can win. Even if he wins, they won't let him win.
Yeah.
And you know what? I even see them. You know what? I am. I have such respect for this president and what he's enduring for us, and very few people appreciate it. But I don't think they're beyond assassinating him.
Ooh, that would be.
They cannot let this man win, and they won't let him.
That
win.
would be one way.
But God.
Yeah.
I
hope not.
He'll prevail.
I hope
because it ain't going to happen.
Yeah, I hope not. I hope. But that's. We don't want to think that, Linda.
We don't want to think it. What do you think they're doing? How can you not think it?
Yeah,
crying out loud. Look he's facing 531 years in jail. How can you not think they're trying to kill him?
Yeah.
Of course they are. They don't care if that man drops of a heart attack tomorrow. Doesn't that bother you, American? Doesn't that make you want to cry for this man?
Well, I didn't think of that, but you brought up something that, that's.
And when I mentioned the last downgrade under Obama, now granted that might be because we had who was that, Barney Frank ahead of the the housing situation we had, where we gave everybody a house for nearly nothing, right?
Yeah.
And that came back to haunt us, you know.
Yeah.
And even Bill Clinton said you can't hang that up on on George W. Bush, but it did. But the downgrade did occur.
Yeah, it did
under Obama.
That's right. That's right. Linda, as always, thank you for the call. We are coming up on our final break of this hour. Talk for the Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. If we get to this, Wildwood Mayor Pete Byron, well, he's in a little bit of hot water, but not too bad. Talk for the Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Final thoughts in hour number 2 after these words.
Joe Yakovich is registered with, and securities and investment advisory services are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company. When it comes to you and your family's financial wellness, there are so many things to talk about. We could go on forever. To help guide you along the way, Joe Yakovich has written a book called The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In the book, Joe talks about longevity, inflation, retirement surprises, and many other topics. For your free copy of The Heart of Your Money, call the office of Joe Yakovich at JML Financial at 856-751-1771 or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. For over 37 years, Joe Yakovich has been helping families throughout the area navigate the difficulties of a sound financial plan. You'll find Joe's approach to be different and not just the cookie-cutter methods that are prevalent in today's world. The path to your financial wellness and or retirement starts with a call to Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group. 856-751-1771. 856-751-1771. Or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com.
Oh, boy, that was a quick one. Talk for the Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Let's talk to Andy again in Brigantine. Andy, good morning. Welcome back.
Yeah, John. The thing about Donald Trump is the problem is that he didn't do a bad job for the country. The problem is that he did a good job for the country. So Donald Trump is a businessman. And he looks at problems. And how can we resolve this problem? He doesn't think, well, how can I resolve this problem to make the Republicans happy or the Democrats happy or the independents happy? He doesn't look at it that way. He just looks at how can I fix the problem, period. Okay? But the Democrats, I've talked about this before. The Democrats have to make sure that life sucks in the United States, because the only way they can bait people into voting for them with promises of making their lives better is if they first make their lives suck. Because if your life was good, you're not going to vote for them.
Right.
They have nothing to offer. They have nothing to offer.
Right.
So everything has to be bad so that we can then promise, if you vote for us, we will make it better. But they will not. Rush Limbaugh said this so many times. He said, Democrats do not fix problems. Democrats create problems so that they can then run on fixing the very problems that they themselves created. And we've seen this again and again and again. They've done this with the black community. The black community is complaining about the same things now that they were complaining about 60 years ago. And that is by design. The black, for a lot of the black people, life is not good. The Democrats made it so in order to bait the blacks into voting for them with promises of a better life. And yet, and here we are, 60 years later, they get 93% of the vote. They get 93% of the vote, the Democrats, from the black community. So, Donald Trump, by doing good, hurt himself by doing good for the country. They have to get rid of this man. And let me tell you something about the Republicans, John, because I've had it with them too. The Republicans, listen to this, John. the Republicans, many of the Republicans don't even care if they lose, if they're in the minority. Because here's your gig, John. If you're in the minority, you have no power. But you still get your salary. You still get to go to all the fancy parties. You still get to go to your country club, and you have all the prestige of being a senator or congressman. And the only thing you have to do every day, John, when you're in the minority is show up, bitch and complain about how bad the Democrats are, and then go home. It's an easy gig because when you're in power, when you're in the majority, you actually have to do something for the people.
Yeah.
So it's an easy gig. So they don't even try to win. They don't even try to win. They don't care.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've had it with both parties, huh?
Well, I'm not talking about every Republican, but, what does Mitch McConnell care? He's going to be dead in a couple of years, okay? We've got to get these fossils, these cadavers out of Washington. You need to make room. The Jim Jordans and the Ted Cruzes and the younger people who have children who they're concerned about their future, okay? They have a vested interest in what direction this country takes going forward. You mentioned your grandchildren. These people like Mitch McConnell, they don't care now.
Yeah.
They're going to be dead in a couple of years. Biden's the same way. And I'm telling you, they're going to drag this Biden thing out until such time as he can until it is blatantly obvious where the truth will be self-evident that this man is senile. Because they can't convict you, they can't try you for a crime unless you are cognizant, aware of what you're being charged with, and can defend yourself. So if they drag it out long enough until he's like Dianne Feinstein, okay, they can say, well, we can't prosecute Joe Biden now because he has no idea what's going on. But the same people who defend him now that he's perfectly fine will be the same people who throw him under the bus when the you-know-what hits the fan, because if Joe Biden goes down, he's going to bring a lot of other people down with him, Republicans and Democrats.
That's right.
So they've got to drag this out until Biden can no longer be prosecuted, and then there won't even be an investigation, because what's the point? If you can't prosecute the guy, then what's the point of even having an investigation?
That's right.
And time will go on, and there'll be some other major thing going on, like a World War III, and the Biden stuff will seem like small potatoes at that point.
Okay, Andy, thanks a lot for the call. Real quick, let's have John in Ocean City. John, quickly.
Yes, hi. Yes. Barack Obama gave $170 billion American taxpayer money to the bones of Iran. Let's see, Hunter Biden ceded a cobalt mine into the hands of the CCP for $3.8 billion. Hillary Clinton ceded 21% of uranium into the hands of Rosatom. Bill Clinton gave software, so-called software, educational software to the Chinese with a backdoor to develop ICBMs. We go on and on and on and on and on with what's going on. Diane Franken-Feinstein had a chauffeur that was a Chinese spy. Eric Swalwell slept with a Chinese spy. He went back to the mainland China. Bang, bang. But President Trump is protesting against the results of 2020. And they want to throw him in jail for life. Do you see any lopsided justice here? I do. Bye.
All right, John. Thanks for the call. Hey, John must have had a clock there because he kind of ended right on time. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. We have June Burns. She's coming up at 11 o'clock. June is running for Atlantic County Commissioner at Large. We'll find out what her position is on a lot of things, and we'll talk to her coming up at 11 o'clock. 609-407-1450 is our number here in the studio. I'm John DeMasi. We have hour number 2 in the books. Boy, time is flying today. Hour number 3 is on the way, and you know what we always say. Don't go away.
95.5 FM and 1450 AM WPGG Atlantic City. WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now, the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
Hour number 3, Talk with a Purpose, every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Good to have you with us. And good to have with us today on the show as our guest, June Burns. June is a candidate for Atlantic County Commissioner at Large, and she's running, and we're going to talk to her about why she's running and all of that stuff. And if you have a question at any time, 609-407-1450 is our number here in the studio. June, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Good morning, John. I like that. Talk with a purpose. Yeah. I'm good at that.
Well, you're running for office, so you better be able to talk.
Yeah, I am running for office. And I also want to mention that I currently sit on City Council in Linwood since 2019. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, just ready to take it to the next level.
Okay. So maybe you should explain a little bit, because this is one of those positions. It used to be freeholder, now it's county commissioner.
Correct.
People don't exactly know what you do. So what does a county commissioner do? What are the job functions?
What the county commissioners do, they're the elected officials that represent the people of Atlantic County. They're providing safe, affordable, enjoyable place to be for everyone. Some of the services they manage: public health and well-being, public safety, senior citizen services, travel and tourism, education, the county library system, county parks and recreation. There's so important, our county infrastructure. They maintain and improve our roads and bridges. That's a huge project for them. Veterans services, so important to everybody. All doing this and managing and balancing the budget to keep our taxes down, which they've done a great job with.
Wow. Is there anything else? I mean, you just mentioned...
Oh, there are. No, there are a lot. There's just a bunch off the top of my head.
Wow. That's a lot of things.
I've had many people out on this campaign trail ask me, what do county commissioners do? And a lot of people don't know, so I'm glad you asked that.
Yeah, I mean, I had John Risley on. He's the chairman. And I've known him for years. I don't know. Like, it's not something people think about every day, but yet you have an important function in county government. So it's good that you explained that. You're running for the commissioner at large. Now, what does that mean, commissioner at large?
Well, there are 9 total commissioners. 5 serve specific districts. 4 are the entire county, therefore at large. There are 2 open seats right now in the at-large commissioners, and John Risley and I are running side by side as a team for those 2 seats.
Well, hopefully you get elected.
Well, thank you. I'm out and about meeting people all over the county, and I've met some amazing people, made new friends along the way, so it's really a win-win situation for me. I'm at a good point in my life. I have 3 successful adult kids, a supportive husband, and it's a really good time in my life to be able to give back to the county.
And you're hanging around with Joe Girallo, so that's a good thing.
Oh, well, and better, Gina Girallo.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you are elected, what would be your priorities? What are you going to bring to the table?
So what I would like to do, if I have the support of the county voters, I'd first meet with the current commissioners that are governing and listen to where they see a need and a fit for me on specific boards. And then I'll share my experience in specific areas that I'm devoted to and enthusiastic about, like travel and tourism, That's what brought me back here after college in 1987, when all my friends were heading to New York or to Philly for their jobs. I was coming back here because Atlantic City was thriving. And it wasn't just that Atlantic City was thriving, the entire county was, because of the employment that it created. So I would love to be on travel and tourism to help with that diversity that we now need to look at, because casino gaming is everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
It's not just us in Las Vegas anymore. So we need more diversity. Senior citizen services. I chair the Senior Citizen Service Committee in Linwood, and I've had such satisfaction with seeing the smile on their faces when we do a barbecue for Memorial Day weekend, and they get to see old friends, and we do the shopping. We roll up our sleeves. We had our mayor flipping burgers, and I was serving. And I know on the county level, it goes beyond that. I'll share with you, my mother just turned 100 years old in June.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Happy, healthy, but unfortunately we lost her 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
It was, but I'm telling you that because I had the experience of dealing with the generational services committee, where she got some services from the county, and that was wonderful. And it helped us to be able to, because she was living with my sister, run out and go to the store, not worry about her continuously. Of course you do, but it's such a need. And I had a lot of experience with them. They're a great department. And then I'd like to be a part of County Parks and Recreation, Veteran Services, which I'm also involved with here. We have a high school Support Our Troops Club at Mainland, and it's so important for our kids to not forget what our veterans have done for us. And I'd like to be involved with that. And of course, the Finance Committee. I think it's necessary for every elected official on every level to know how and where the tax dollars are being spent. Our county government has done an excellent job with that under the leadership of Denny Levinson, and I'm involved here in Linwood on the Finance Committee, and it's just so important to know where that money is being spent, how it's coming in and how it's going out.
June Burns is our guest, and she is running for Atlantic County Commissioner at Large. She is our guest this morning here on Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. June is here, and she is ready to talk to you at 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio, 609-407-1450. June, does the fact that you're on Linwood Town Council, does that kind of qualify you to be commissioner? Is that like the next step?
That's how I feel. I'm ready to. I've done a lot here. I love what I do here. As I tell my committees here, if I have the opportunity to work on the county level, I'll still be involved in the committees here as a resident or as a county official, whether it's my library board, which I've done a lot with, or I was a big part of our public safety committee that brought Class 3 police officers to our schools to keep our children safe. And I was a proponent for that because I believe having the Class 3 officers, it's a deterrent. It's a deterrent to any type of threat to our schools. So does it qualify me? I think I qualify me. Anybody can, run for the office, but I've, above and beyond just what I do in my capacity as an elected official, I've lived a life of civic involvement. I was on the zoning board prior to city council, so I learned a lot there and was involved with a lot. For years, I was involved with court-appointed special advocates. They advocate for children in foster care. I was not an advocate. I was on their board for several years. And then when I stepped down from the board, I did the fundraising, raised thousands and thousands of dollars that just went right back into training advocates for the children. I was their 2019 Change Makers Award recipient, and I was just proud of that because it's such an easy ask to ask people to donate to help children who are in foster care, to whether either find them a permanent home or return them to their biological parents. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, it does. You know what I have found, and John Risley said the same thing, that people like yourself and John who run for office or who are involved just do this as a love of community and all of that stuff. So it's kind of in your blood. And once you get one thing, you're on to the next, and you are, of course. And yeah, it's like me doing radio. It's in my blood, you know. So
right.
You're to be commended for that.
It's not always easy, as you know. Sometimes you don't agree with people that you sit on a board with, but that's okay. As long as I can go home at night and peacefully put my head on that pillow and know that I made the right decision.
Yeah.
I have satisfaction in that. It's always what's right for the residents, not what is right for June Burns.
Right. Here's the $64,000 question. Where do you stand on the wind turbine issue?
Okay. I believe and I support green energy. That's just the way of our future. I know we have several unanswered questions that need to be answered before we move forward. Of course, what's out there all over is what's happening to our sea life, the whales and the dolphins. But will this create local jobs? We're hearing that it's going to create jobs. We need to hear from the state that definite answers on these questions. We're hearing it's like buzzword. Yes, it's going to create jobs. Well, who is it creating jobs for? Is it going to hurt jobs?
Yeah.
Is it going to hurt? I told you travel and tourism is why I came back home. Is it going to hurt that? Is it going to help it? What is the actual lifespan of one of these? And then what happens to this massive wind turbine? And are there any other alternatives on the horizon that we're not looking into? That there's got to be things out there, answers out there for all of these questions. And really important, are our energy bills going to increase with wind turbines? Some people say they are. Some people say they aren't. We need all these answered before we move forward.
You know, you've been involved in tourism, and you said you came back because of tourism and all of that. And, you know, I told this story many times on the show. I'm sitting there in my doctor's office, and this is in Marlton, okay? And a woman who does a lot of traveling, she says to me, are those things up yet? You know, which goes to show you people aren't paying attention exactly to what's going on. But she's in Philadelphia, and she says, I'm not coming down the shore if they're up. I don't want to look at wind turbines when I'm sitting on the beach. So do you feel that it would affect tourism and the fishing industry?
Are they going to be 9 miles out? If they're 9 miles out, it's going to change the whole horizon. How many times do people just go for a walk on the beach and take a picture of the horizon? It's very peaceful. Are we going to see them? I've heard some people say it's 9 miles out. I've heard other people say, no, you're not going to be able to see them.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to be able to see them, then no. But again, what's the life expectancy of one of those?
Yeah. Yeah.
And where are the jobs? Where are the jobs? Are they local jobs? And for how long?
Yeah. That's what I want to know, too.
Right.
Yeah. How long are the jobs for? Are they for, you know, a month, a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is? But, you know, tourism, that's our lifeblood. I mean, we shouldn't mess with the lifeblood. So I'm just wondering where you stand on that, because, I mean, without tourism, what do we have? You know?
Right. We do need to bring energy and excitement back to the entire county. And as I said earlier, diversity is huge. But the one standing thing we have on the shoreline are our beautiful beaches and boardwalks, right?
Yeah.
So as long as we still have that, we can bring back it's not just casinos anymore, as I said, because casinos are everywhere.
That's right.
We have the new water park, fabulous, concerts, festivals. We need better shopping. Come on, we're losing all of our shopping. Restaurants, farmers markets. It's all tied in together. And as long as we're doing well on the western end and employing everybody, and all the way to the eastern shore, we'll thrive.
That's right.
It's time to keep our senior citizens here, able to live here during retirement, and, like me, bring our students, our children back after college.
Right.
They want to be here.
Right. You know, you mentioned casinos everywhere. Do you know one time I was in, are you ready for this? Dubuque, Iowa. Okay. Mm-hmm. Across the river was Missouri, and there's a casino there. I mean, it was a little casino, and it was on a boat. I said to myself, casinos here? I mean, they're everywhere. So we've got to compete. That's all there is to it. June, we got to take a break. Will you stay with us for a few minutes?
Absolutely.
Okay. June Burns is our guest. She is running for Atlantic County Commissioner at Large, and she is our guest, and she's talking about her candidacy and why she should be commissioner. 609-407-1450. If you have any questions for June, 609-407-1450. I'm John DeMasi. More Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
When it comes to you and your family's financial wellness, there are so many things to talk about. We could go on forever. To help guide you along the way, Joe Yakovich has written a book called The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In the book, Joe talks about longevity, inflation, retirement surprises, and many other topics. For your free copy of The Heart of Your Money, call the office of Joe Yakovich at JML Financial at 856-751-1771 or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. For over 37 years, Joe Yakovich has been helping families throughout the area navigate the difficulties of a sound financial plan. You'll find Joe's approach to be different and not just the cookie-cutter methods that are prevalent in today's world. The path to your financial wellness and or retirement starts with a call to Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group. 856-751-1771. 856-751-1771. Or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. Joe Yakovich is registered with, and securities and investment advisory services are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC. Member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
Want to save money in these inflationary times? Write this number down. 855-910-1246. 855-910-1246. Text your number to that number and you'll be part of BF Mazzio's Text Message Club, where you'll receive specials and coupons that will save you money. BF Mazzio, the finest fresh fruit and produce you'll find anywhere. Gift baskets, catering for all occasions, and more. 601 New Road, Northfield. Online at bfmazzio.com.
June Burns is our guest. She is the candidate for Atlantic County Commissioner at Large. There are 9 of them, and she is going to represent the entire county. And she has a Facebook page. And June, would you be so kind as to give the Facebook page address?
Yes, it's June Burns for Atlantic County Commissioner at Large. Very simple. I'm going to spell my last name. We're BYRNES. So it's June Burns for Atlantic County Commissioner at Large.
There you go. And you
on Facebook.
Check that out on Facebook. 609-407-1450 is our number here in the studio. And again, June Burns is our guest, and she's running for Atlantic County Commissioner at Large. What's your position on taxes? Can you, do the commissioners, you commissioner at large, do you have any influence as far as the county is concerned, or is that a Levinson issue, or what? What is your take on that?
Well, the commissioners support Denny. Denny's done a fabulous job in all his years in office balancing that budget, and they work along with Denny. That is Denny's thing, but along with the commissioners, making government more efficient and within the budget, and still being able to make a difference in everybody's lives positively. It's not an easy thing to do, and he's done a fabulous job with it. So, yes, I as I said earlier, everybody, every elected official, every resident should know where money is going.
I think, didn't we lower the county taxes this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We did that. So now, would you think maybe next year you're going to try to get it a little lower, or what? That's just a speculation, but what would you think?
I would love to tell you, yes, absolutely, I'm going to do that. But I would have to get in there first to see. I'm not privy to all of the budgets and what they're working on right now, what the plan is for next year. I'm sure they have a plan of things that are going on. And you never know what's coming up, such as state health insurance, things like that always affect the budget, things that you're not expecting. So that was one thing I will get involved with and can make that decision next year. But of course I want to lower taxes.
The health insurance thing, I understand it went up like, for the county, what was it, like 20-some %?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's affecting every municipality.
What are you going to do about that?
You have to, you can try and get an independent insurance company. You can look to see if somebody will take you. That's the first step.
Yeah.
In trying to see if you can go off the state plan, but to find somebody that can offer the same services, the same level at a better price, that will take you.
Yeah. It's really, you ever notice health insurance, no matter what, you never use it. You could have health insurance for 10 years, you never use it, and it goes up every year. Did you ever notice that? I mean,
but you have to have it.
Yeah, you do, and that's a necessary evil. What are the other issues, June? Are there any other things that are on your mind that you'd like to talk about as far as bringing to the table what you feel are important issues?
Well, we've covered so much here. Again, public safety. I think we need to all keep an eye out for each other, and if you see something suspicious, call 911. Don't call your neighbor. Don't call, your elected official who will help you, but your first reaction should be to call 911. I know there's a lot going on in our county, not just the world, but I'm talking about our county. That's my focus, that we all just have to go back to neighborhood watch. We're a small county. If we all work together on everything we've talked about, we are the best in New Jersey.
Well, June, I wish you a lot of luck. I know you got my vote. That's for sure. June Burns is running for Atlantic County Commissioner at Large, and she's running along with John Risley, and we encourage you to support them and vote for them come November. June, thanks for coming on. Appreciate your time, and good luck with the election.
Thank you very much, John. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Thanks a lot. June Burns, again, running for Atlantic County Commissioner at Large. Talk with a Purpose is a show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. We're going to switch gears here and talk about a guy who we haven't talked about. Well, we've touched on it a little bit. I've been reading, and I mentioned this earlier in the show, I probably have read 6 or 7 columns with regards to Ron DeSantis and the Florida law with regards to teaching slavery. And you might expect they paint DeSantis as a racist. And if you remember a couple weeks ago, I told you, my cousin and I, we got into it. She calls him a racist because of this thing about slavery and teaching slavery. Because all he said was that in some cases, they were taught marketable skills that they would carry over when they became free, and they could use them the rest of their lives. That was all that he said. And that was all of this, that's all this curriculum was. And in fact, all of these columns, all of these, and a lot of them were African-American columnists. And I get it. Oh, you're African-American. Oh, well, he said about slavery. That's horrible. It was horrible. It was a terrible experience. Another thing, why are we still talking about slavery? And why are we worried about how we teach it? I mean, we had it. It was there. We fought a war. 400,000 white people died fighting against slavery. So why are we talking about this? But this is what I wanted to point out with regards to, this is from Dr. William Allen. He is an African American. He is the co-developer of the new curriculum in Florida. And I read this to you last week, and I'll read it again because I think it's worth mentioning. It was never said that slavery was beneficial to Africans. What was said, and anyone who reads this will see this with clarity, it is the case that Africans proved resourceful, resilient, and adaptive, and were able to develop skills and aptitudes which served to their benefit, both while enslaved and after enslavement. And then he goes on to say, my great-grandfather is someone who came from the islands and who was enslaved here, and whose own resourcefulness, resilience, and adaptiveness was certainly instrumental in producing for his family, his descendants, the ability to prosper here in this country. So there you have it. That's what it's about. So why are they still? I mean, I still see columns. Oh, DeSantis, he's a racist. He's against African Americans. No. There you just heard it. But see, they don't say that in these columns where they say, and it's just like Trump. They call him, they compare him to Hitler. And I went out with somebody years ago. She said, Trump is like Hitler. And I remember saying, how many people did he kill? Which, that shut her up. So this thing about racism, it's just a word that they throw out constantly. And my cousin did it. And that really made me nuts. So I just wanted to point that out. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. I also wanted to mention, and I said this in the last hour, Wildwood Mayor Pete Byron. It was announced Wednesday that formerly dismissed charges are being reinstated. That's the bad news. The good news is he will not be going to prison on tax charges. Byron was charged with 2 counts of presenting false tax returns, failing to report more than $40,000 in income over the course of 2 years. Byron could have faced 6 months in federal prison, but he received an outpouring of support from the community, so now he won't go to prison. And I think he's got to pay restitution for, I think, $7,000. And then he's got to pay, the judge said, triple, another $21,000. So he's in a little bit of trouble as far as that's concerned. So Pete Byron is still the mayor of Wildwood. And I understand there was calls for him to resign, but He hasn't resigned. So this is one of those things where he just got caught up in some things that really he shouldn't have got caught up in. So we'll see what happens. 609-407-1450. It's Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5, and I'm John DeMasi. We are coming up on a break. We'll come back with more of today's edition of Talk with a Purpose after these words.
If you're interested in driving one of the finest automobiles on the market today, then you'll want to check out all of the fabulous new and pre-owned Lexus at Lexus of Atlantic City. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Driving a Lexus is like no other vehicle on the market. Test drive one for yourself at Lexus of Atlantic City. Whether it's new or pre-owned, you'll be more than satisfied. In fact, Lexus is consistently #1 when it comes to customer satisfaction. Visit Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Or you can check out their outstanding selection of new, pre-owned, and L-certified pre-owned vehicles on their website, LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. That's LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. Or, if you want more information, call 609-641-0008. Lexus of Atlantic City, now celebrating their 26th year in the area. A dealership that you'll enjoy. No pressure, no gimmicks, no hassle, no hype. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. And remember, always online at LexusOfAtlanticCity.com.
Joe Yakovich is registered with and securities and investment advisory services are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC. Member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company. When it comes to you and your family's financial wellness, there are so many things to talk about. We could go on forever. To help guide you along the way, Joe Yakovich has written a book called The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In the book, Joe talks about longevity, inflation, retirement surprises, and many other topics. For your free copy of The Heart of Your Money, call the office of Joe Yakovich at JML Financial at 856-751-1771 or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. For over 37 years, Joe Yakovich has been helping families throughout the area navigate the difficulties of a sound financial plan. You'll find Joe's approach to be different and not just the cookie-cutter methods that are prevalent in today's world. The path to your financial wellness and or retirement starts with a call to Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group. 856-751-1771. 856-751-1771. Or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com.
Your WPG Talk Radio 95.5 AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. Humid this afternoon, warmer with intervals of clouds and sunshine, the high up to 87. Partly cloudy tonight, low 64. Partial sunshine tomorrow, high 86 throughout the weekend. Come Monday, mostly cloudy, uncomfortably humid. Watch for severe thunderstorms in the afternoon, could bring damaging winds, flash flooding, and hail, high 84. I'm AccuWeather's Ruth O'Brien on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose. Don't forget, if you miss any of today's show, we have the Talk with a Purpose replay every Sunday, 5 until 8, right here, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. It is today's show tomorrow. Huh? Boy, how's that for a living, huh? We get it twice on the weekends. Every Sunday, it's the Talk with a Purpose replay, 5 until 8, right here on WPG Talk Radio 95.5. But this is the live version here on Talk with a Purpose, 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. We got a couple of open lines, rare moment in the show, where we do have that, 609-407-1450. I've got a question for you. Of all the things that we talk about here on this show, we have never, ever talked about this. And I'm going to ask you this question. Do you believe in angels? What? Do you believe in angels? 7 in 10 U.S. adults do, according to an AP NORC poll. People turn to angels for comfort. They are familiar, regularly showing up in pop culture as well as in the Bible. So, do we have an angel here in the studio? We hear. Wait. Oh, that's the angel is Harry. There, we got to. Well, we'll make Harry the angel for this morning, because he's got about 7 pictures on the wall. But what do you think? How about the bear? Oh, yeah. You know, it's not a slow news day. I saw this and I said, we got to ask the people if they believe in angels. If I had an angel, what would I do with it? Greg is in Absec, and Greg, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Mr. DeMasi, good morning.
Morning, Greg.
It's not just an angel you have, it's a guardian angel.
Oh, okay.
I've had one since I've been 6 years old, so I know.
Oh, okay.
I know him personally. A couple things. President Trump.
Yes.
He has earned the presidency. He has run the gauntlet so many times. It's become such bad news. Everything that we hear about him is negative.
Yeah. Oh, that's for sure.
Everything he's doing is positive.
Yeah.
Not for them, for us, the people.
Yeah.
And for this country.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy.
Well, you know when it drives me crazy, Greg? When I pull up to the gas pump and I see, what was it? I think it was $3.69 the other day. And that might even be cheap now. I don't know, but yeah, that's when it drives me crazy.
Yeah, well, it's all part of the picture for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, everything is negative. But like you said, what he actually does when he was president and he produces positive things. You know, like energy independence. Biden gets into office. And he's not in office 4 hours, and he shuts down a pipeline. And then he goes and begs Saudi Arabia for oil. I mean, what's wrong with this picture? You know?
I think it's called insanity.
Yeah,
personally.
yeah. And you heard me say, Joy Behar said, he's doing a good job, other than the fact that people say, I guess it's because he's old. But, I mean, I can't see anything else wrong with him. Inflation is down. Is it down really, Joy? I mean, that is ridiculous.
I mean, it is a strange movie theater where I'm telling you.
Yeah.
The other thing, ever since I was a kid, they've always talked about the basket full of crabs.
Yeah.
And it's always the crab at the bottom pulling on the one getting out to pull him back.
Yeah.
Now, when I looked at it, I say, hey, didn't you see his foot go down and help him get out?
Yeah.
So there's an opposite side to that basket. There's an inside and outside. If somebody's trying to get everybody out.
Yeah.
You know, let him alone. Let him keep lowering his foot.
Yeah.
The other thing, the Civil War. 700,000 people died, in excess of 700,000 people died in the Civil War.
Yeah.
On both sides.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing for a lot of people is it was about slavery. Wrong. The war was well underway and the North was losing until Lincoln emancipated people. And he had everyone join back together.
Yes.
To fight the war.
Yes.
Otherwise, we would be speaking Spanish right now.
Yeah,
or Southern.
That's for sure. That's for
we
sure.
We would all have a Southern drawl.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay, because when I was a kid, I read it backwards. I read about who lost first before I read about who won.
Yeah.
And it was interesting, the different perspectives, depending on what side of the ditch you were on.
Yeah. It's you know, all I was saying was, why are we focused so much on this Civil War? You know, it was 150 years ago. I mean, why don't we move forward from certain things. I mean, it's constant. Oh, we gotta teach about slavery and the slaves were oppressed. And, well, we know that. We know that.
Yeah.
But why do we keep talking about it? It's like, when you talk about a death, you in your family, you mourn them, but you got to move on. You just got to move on with things. I just don't understand. Yeah.
Yep.
Greg, thanks for the call. We appreciate it. Jenny and Absec, and Jenny, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Thanks, Jenny.
I was listening to your show this morning from the very beginning, and I couldn't agree with you more. And I'm not just saying that to be a brown-noser. I totally agree with you. Trump is the best. Trump's going to win. He's going to get the nomination. I don't care what anybody says. When you look at his professionalism and his performance as president, he ran it like a business.
That's right.
And this is what has to be done.
That's right. That's right.
This is what has to be done. He did what was best for Americans and America, and this is what has to be done. We're not globalists. We weren't made to be globalists, okay? Even in as much as moving the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, that should have been done from the very beginning.
That's right.
But nobody had the guts to do it but Donald J. Trump. Nobody, because they were too worried about offending the 22 Arab nations who want to annihilate Israel and surround them. He did it. He kept his word and he did it. It should have been done with Clinton. Nobody would do it. Nobody would do it. And there are many, many other things, as I'm sure your listeners know. I think all of this crap, this frivolous nonsense being thrown at Donald Trump is going to continue to aggravate the American voters, and it's going to make his poll numbers go up.
Yep.
And not only will he be the nominee, but he's going to win. This is aggravating people that the Department of Justice, the FBI, the IRS, they are all weaponized against Donald Trump, and people are going to get pissed off even more than usual and vote for him in retaliation.
That's right. That's right. That's why I said what I said this morning. I'm starting to think that.
Yes.
Yeah. Because
yes, I've thought this for a while now.
Yeah. It's like, hey, we're going to get them. We're going to vote for them. That's what it is, really. Yeah.
He says what he means. He says what he means, and he means what he says, and so do his kids.
That's right. That's right. Jenny, thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate it. Kevin in EHT. Kevin, good morning. Welcome.
Hey, John, calling again. Agree with your last caller, but could I share an angel story with you and take it as you wish?
Yes.
In World War II, my uncle was a navigator in a C-47. They're the planes that drop the paratroopers and load the gliders and stuff.
Yes.
He volunteered for a mission on the day after D-Day, which would have been June 7th, 1944, and he was shot down. And my mom, who passed at the age of 97 4 years ago, used to be able to tell this story pretty much up to the end until she got dementia. But she remembers when the telegram came to the house saying that your son is missing in action. And then her mother, my grandmother, always lived with the fear that he had burned to death. So there was no one you could call. The younger generation today would have no clue what it was like back then.
Yeah.
But there's no one you could write to, no one you could call. But in September of 1944, they received the second telegram, which said your son was indeed killed in action. So one night, they lived in Newark, New Jersey. There was a knock at the door. My mom answered the door. It was a soldier. She invited him in. He walked right up to my grandmother and said, Mrs. Lyons, I just want you to know that I saw your son, and he did not burn to death. He died of a head injury. And with that, the guy turned around and left. And someone said to my mom years later, that was an angel. That was God's way of putting her mind at ease.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that something?
That's a story. That
Yeah.
is a story,
And-
yeah.
Yeah, it's take it as you wish, but when you think of this, he walked up to their house in Newark, New Jersey. He walked right up to her. He knew her name. He said, "I saw your son." So, what's the chance of that? He died in an airplane crash.
Jeez.
So, yeah. So anyway, he's buried over in France, and I'd like to get over there someday. Just to, that's hallowed ground. It's the same cemetery that you see in the movie Saving Private Ryan that he's buried in.
Is it anywhere near Paris?
No, it's for Normandy.
Oh, okay.
It's the Normandy American
Okay.
Cemetery. It overlooks the beaches that they that we not invaded, but we came ashore at. So no, it wouldn't be near Paris. I don't think. No.
Okay. Well, that's a great story. That's a great story. Thanks for the call, Kevin. Well, look, somebody has an angel, and there you go. But I when you talk about stuff like that, it's so vague. Oh, I believe this, and you could believe a lot of things. It's just. I wish I had a guardian angel to make me hit the lottery. 1.5 billion or something. Oh my God. That would cure a lot of problems. But anyway, we are coming up on our final break of the morning. Talk with a Purpose is the show. Saturdays 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. We'll talk to John after the break, and maybe we'll talk to you. We can get in a couple of calls here at 609-407-1450. Back with more Talk with a Purpose after these words.
Joe Yakovich is registered with, and securities and investment advisory services are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company. When it comes to you and your family's financial wellness, there are so many things to talk about. We could go on forever. To help guide you along the way, Joe Yakovich has written a book called The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In the book, Joe talks about longevity, inflation, retirement surprises, and many other topics. For your free copy of The Heart of Your Money, call the office of Joe Yakovich at JML Financial at 856-751-1771 or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. For over 37 years, Joe Yakovich has been helping families throughout the area navigate the difficulties of a sound financial plan. You'll find Joe's approach to be different and not just the cookie-cutter methods that are prevalent in today's world. The path to your financial wellness and or retirement starts with a call to Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group. 856-751-1771. 856-751-1771. Or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com.
Want to save money in these inflationary times? Write this number down. 855-910-1246. 855-910-1246. Text your number to that number and you'll be part of BF Mazzio's Text Message Club, where you'll receive specials and coupons that will save you money. BF Mazzio, the finest fresh fruit and produce you'll find anywhere. Gift baskets, catering for all occasions, and more. 601 New Road, Northfield. Online at bfmazzio.com.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose, 609-407-1450 is the number here, 609-407-1450. Joe Yakovich will be here next week on our show talking about finances, and he's got some new stuff for us. So we invite you to tune in for that next week, Joe Yakovich here on Talk with a Purpose. But right now we have John in Ocean City. John, good morning. Welcome back.
Yes, I am a glutton for punishment, so I call in a fourth time. Thanks for letting me call in. Or you're the glutton for punishment. I don't know. Thank you. Anyway, I worked as a service bartender in Pennsylvania, and the place was shaped like an L. That being, it had I'm not thinking straight. The employees' quarters on the bottom, and on the top was an apartment. I lived in the apartment up top. I shared it with an Egyptian fellow that worked there too. We all had our own separate bedrooms, and it was like a long L shape, and it had windows about as high as my chest. So I had a very small kitchen, a very long living room, and it had very small bedrooms. And there were single beds. We both had a single bed in our rooms. That's what they were, just small rooms, and they were very thin. So anyway, suffice to say, I'm like Donald Trump. There are people that love me there and people that didn't love me there. So about 11 o'clock at night, I'm stone sober. I haven't been drinking. I haven't been smoking. I'm sober as a judge. I'm trying to get some rest about maybe 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. And a car pulls up outside my bedroom window, and they're catcalling me. Let's beat the F out of them. Let's blow them the F up, and real nice things like that. And I had the car running. So I know what I do. I'll fool these jokers, and I got on my knee. I took this very thin mattress and went out into the living room and placed it very quietly and gently underneath the first window. There's no air conditioning. They pulled the car up to the first window. They're saying the same stuff to me. Then the second window, then the third window, then the fourth window. And by that time, I'm scared. I'm scared because unless these cats got X-ray vision, there's no way they can see me on my knees, quietly moving this small mattress to get out of their range of their insults to that. So at that point, I got scared, and yes, I started praying to God, please protect me from these guys. They're really scaring me, Lord. I don't know how they know I'm moving my mattress, but they know for some reason. And I looked back, and I thought maybe one of these jokers came up the back steps of the employees area there where they had a washer and dryer and table and that, and lockers and that. And that's what I thought at first, but I let out and I saw my guardian angel. You know, he wasn't 7'10" with wings and blonde hair and blue eyes. I'm not saying there aren't that, but personage was a male. He had a Mediterranean appearance. He glowed, and his robe was like silvery white. He did not have wings, and he didn't look happy. He didn't look sad. He didn't look angry. He looked like he was on duty. And my mother said he looked like he was one of those guards at Buckingham Palace. I said, exactly, he was on duty. And that's my story about an angel. Yes, I wasn't living a godly life. I get along with people with tattoos, man. I don't get along with the church going type. They look down their nose on me anyway. But you know what? We point fingers at each other. But in the end, we're going to stand before the same living Christ and give an account. Thanks for letting me call in.
Thanks, John. Thanks for the call. So he saw his guardian angel. Boy, I don't know what I would do if I saw that. I don't know. I would be scared, I guess. I don't know. But I'm looking for one. So if anyone knows where to find a guardian angel, email me during the week and I'll see if I can find one. I could use one, that's for sure. 609-407-1450. We've got a couple of minutes left of the show, and if you want to jump in real quick here with a call. We talked about Joe Biden earlier and about the Department of Justice and how they didn't really ask Biden's family to register as agents. And the one person who didn't, who was not a family member, they sent him to jail. Devin Archer is a business partner, and he is part of Hunter Biden's entourage, if you will, or he was. He, in testimony, admitted that he was present when Hunter Biden would call his father, who was then the vice president, and Hunter Biden would say, "Hey, Dad, you want to talk to so-and-so and so-and-so?" Now, I want to ask you this. If your father you're in business or whatever, if your father gets on the phone, doesn't he know who he's on the phone with? I mean, you might tell him beforehand, "Hey, get on the phone and talk to Joe Smith, who is the president of such and such a company, and we're doing business with him. So just say hello." Even if it's that. Joe Biden has got to know something about Hunter's business. And this happened not once, but many times. So how could he say that he didn't know anything about, and he never did any business with Hunter? What? Well, he didn't do business with Hunter, but he certainly knew what he was doing. I mean, I don't do any business with my godson, but I know who he works for, and I know what he does. I mean, so, I'm familiar with that. So I don't understand how he can say, "Oh, well, I don't have anything. I don't know nothing about it. I'm just, with that blank stare that he has, sometimes he's just, I don't know anything about that." He's got to know, and he's got to be involved. I mean, when you think about it, from the financial aspect of what the Bidens have, a $5 million beach house in Rehoboth and another house. And how'd you get all that? You didn't get it on a senator's salary or a vice president's salary. Now, after you became vice president and when you were out of office, speaking, they get a lot of money for speaking engagements. But, this whole thing, and nobody says anything. Nobody really calls him out on that. But if it was Trump, you would hear a bunch of noise. But when it comes to Biden, that's Joe Biden. I don't know anything about Hunter's business dealings. Well, we'll pick that up next week, among other things. It's going to put the wraps on another edition of Talk with a Purpose. Thanks to June Burns for coming in, running for Atlantic County Commissioner at Large. And, of course, thanks to Chris Coleman, our program director and producer, for doing the usual excellent job. Thanks to you, because without you, we don't have a show. You are the listeners. You are the heart blood of the show. I'm John DeMasi. Thanks for listening. Have yourself a great week. We'll talk to you next Saturday, 9 till noon. Talk with a Purpose. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You take care.
The preceding program was paid for and presented by John DeMasi.